Hello, my friends, and welcome to day 3 of Contenders Trials here in the EMEA region. My name's Bull Skunk alongside LaFawn. We've got a couple of banger matches coming at you today, starting off with Samsung Morning Stars taking on Choose Money Crew.
This is going to be an interesting one, Bull Skunk, because we've got an interesting lineup. We've got a team that is kind of fighting to keep their place, keep their footing, if you will, here in Trials. Top 2 make it, and I mean, they have their work cut out for them, especially with, in this group specifically, the fact that they have Avoided to kind of contend with, who we know to be one of the top performers in this particular part of the bracket. So that being said, both Samsung Morning Stars and Choose Money Crew have played out 1 or 2 matches apiece, winning 1, losing 1. And it must be said that we are going to get a chance to see the power level, sort of speak, of these two teams, because the two wins that each of the, or the win that each of these teams got was against the bottom two teams in our bracket here in Group B. So for the first time, we're seeing them play up to a team of their caliber, respectively. So looking forward to it quite significantly here.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good indication of who really deserves to be in the top half of this bracket. I mean, like I said, only the top two move on, and right now, seeds 2 through 5 are all tied up at 1-1. As we get into the back half of Trials Week, this will start separating the men from the boys.
And I think one thing we got to kind of highlight here is that we still have, pre-Genji nerf patch. So when we get into the game itself, we are in 1.50, not 1.50.1. So there is a little bit of a difference there here in Trials. You are going to see a lot of Genji played. Now the question is, are we going to see the double shield, or are we going to see the dive adjacent compositions come through? We've been seeing a lot of, Winston Zarya on a couple of maps, specifically Control, then heading to, sort of the double shield once we get to the more static maps with lesser high grounds and sort of the reduced ability to move around. We do get into our map set here. Obviously, map number 1 is going to be Busan, and then obviously followed up by Escort and then Assault. Should we need to see what it is, and then we'll go from there. But for the first map, it is going to be Busan. It is going to be Sanctuary Volskunk. This is going to be an interesting one for sure.
Absolutely. This map tends to favor the double shield, though it looks like we're getting a culmination of both from each team respectively. But you get the fight on the point is very interesting with the giant drum in the middle blocking the LOS. You do have that side room with a lot of cover where you have the stairs and the drum in there. Double shield tends to hold up. They can utilize all that cover. With the dive comp we're seeing from SMC, they'll most likely want to stay on the outside, see if they can control the positioning on the objective itself.
We are going to see, obviously, the Wrecking Ball coming in is going to be there for a live disruption. Bijou makes a little bit of an error there, selects the Echo, but backs to the Genji. And this is not at all surprising. We are going to see Hades 2417 here. Try and get in the backline, try and cause harass, and just be a general nuisance while the rest of his team sets up.
And one thing that's interesting to me here, Lafad, is feeds on the Sombra. Utilizing the invisible hacker hero, perhaps try to shut down a Shikari. Disable those cooldowns, keep him from dashing out when he needs them most.
And I mean, in all honesty, that was a solo kill. Bijou coming in over the bottom, but gets taken down by Shikari on SMS here. It's going to be the reset now. And despite the early percentage, or despite the early pressure from Shoes Money Crew, Samsung, the Morningstars are going to come back in more aggressively. This is the power of double shield over the Wrecking Ball. You're never going to win that early fight contest in a sort of even setup, right? You just have more sustain in the double shield, and obviously with your mortality fields, you can hold your ground, whereas the dive cannot. These takes too long to kind of set up, tries to get hacked, forced to recall, and that's the go button for the team in green. Now for the recontest, the hack onto Akaya to deny the immortality field.
Nice bubble coming through, but it's not enough to keep Hades alive. Bijou falls as well. Once again, Shoes Money Crew goes down early in the fight. Now half their team missing and a soft reset coming through. So far, this has been very one-way.
This is going to be a real contentious issue here when we talk about this composition. It is not designed to really deal with a static team that doesn't move. You need to be able to get into the backline. You need to be able to isolate and harass. And what ends up happening is because the entirety of SMS is kind of playing inside its own core group, there's no one to really dive on. Instead, you get displaced and you get denied, and the Wrecking Ball needs to isolate a target here on the roll-through.
Looked like Wiku might have been the target. They're getting a little complacent, getting far away from his team. Brig does pop a rally. Ant Matrix comes out. Keep Wiku alive in this fight, with 75% and counting. Time is dwindling here for SMC to make a move. So, Bijou's going to dive into the back, gets the nano boost, pulls out the sword, but gets stunned up. Good play from the Brig, and a wonderful immortality field to keep the team alive. Bijou finding 0 value with the first Genji blade. Shikari now chooses to respond, picks up a pair with a little help from Fake Lion. And despite a momentary flip, Samsung Morningstars take it right back. Now we're at 90%.
That was one of the most inefficient uses of ultimates that I've seen in quite some time, and with that, the round is actually just over. There is no one who can really get a meaningful contest here on the point. They're gonna get the rally, but I don't think anyone can touch.
Unfortunately, the rally only speed boosts the Brig herself, does not allow the rest of the team to get back in the fight as a whole. 1 by 1, Choose Money Crew staggering onto this point. Samsung ready and able to catch that aggression, send them one by one right back to spawn, and pick up a clean 1-0 lead here on Busan.
The composition that Choose Money Crew was running never really got into its ideal rotation. It never got that split off. Very good discipline from SMS to kind of deny the value of the Wrecking Ball, which then denies the value of the Sombra and the Genji. And without the entry, even with that combo, I'd say the one fight that SMS really was lucky in any sort of respect was that ult dump fight that Choose Money Crew tried to take and really kind of beefed. It's rare that you see that many ultimates go in and get no value, but they'll have to put that behind them as we head into Mecha Base. An adaptation, Hades going over to the Winston now rather than the Wrecking Ball. A little bit, perhaps, more consistent cleave damage, but certainly less displacement.
And perhaps the ability to escape a little bit easier. We'll see if SMC can find their rhythm here as we head to Mecha Base. This map, I believe, is going to favor the double shield traditionally. Shikari already finds first blood, taking Hades down. Just dash reset through the team back and forth immediately. 2 kills alive at the feed once again, favoring SMS.
That was a really greedy play from Hades, and it doesn't work out. You jumps in with the bubble, but gets bursted instantly, and even though he puts his bubble down, by that point it takes too long. This is sort of akin to how you used to play Winston in, if you think about, sort of the goats meta or the double sniper meta, how you would play Winston there in terms of how you engage. Hades just goes a little too far for his cooldowns and gets caught out as a result. And with the
Brig, especially the backline protecting, you can't do that. You've got to be more patient with your Winston, especially on this map where you don't have that high ground to work with. Seems like SMC's just fighting an uphill battle. Perhaps being a little stubborn with this composition, they are going to make it work in this second engagement. Great play by the Zarya to get in there, burn down Shikari, and keep the counter from coming through. Now, Will on the high ground. Choose Money Crew are going to move on to the objective, flip this thing over.
And that's what that's what you need to see. Like, A10 is unable to really get into position in the previous fights because he doesn't have a maintain to kind of play off of. The Zarya here can't frontline. She's too squishy. And A10, though he has a fantastic Zarya, we've seen it for many, many seasons now. If the Zarya fundamentally can't play in that front line, can't really do anything. With the Winston able to stay up, you're able to kind of get value. Now, though, online, you're going to have a wealth of ultimates for the defense. And then if they can get ahead of this Dragon Blade.
Nano Blade indeed comes out immediately, and we're talking Phil taken down, and Bijou just slices through half of SMS. A couple fail. Swipes. They go back to spawn. Nice deflect. Finish things off.
And actually, if you're Choose Money Crew, you're actually really happy with how that fight turned out. It's a 3 ults for 2, but the 2 ultimates that you take offline are the Rally and the Amplification Matrix. So coming into this next engagement, you're going to be able to use your Graviton Surge, you're going to be able to use your EMP, and really set yourself up for success. Here's a Graviton early.
Holding him in the door, Bob invested. Trying to come back to it. It's a 6-man EMP. He's landing the ultimate perfectly. Now Coomer pushing in. Finds himself a kill. The rest of SMS just trying to stem the tide to keep SMS from getting out of the door, and they're finding success doing just that with a pair of kills. Trying to get a little aggressive, but satisfied with that fight when they're going to go ahead and back out.
That EMP shuts down 3 different ultimates. The Gravitic Flux, the Bob, and the Supercharger. Extreme value there from these.
Yeah, huge play. Now coming back in, Shikari has the blade online, but it's just going to be a dry blade. Going to have to deal with Hades, who's popped the primal range off the top. BQ does find one. That eventually goes down to the beam from A10. And SMC making me eat my words here as they have made the dive work on Mecha Base. We're going to be 1-1 as we head to downtown.
The adaptation there comes in the fact that they're able to keep Hades up alive. We saw a difference of how quickly he laid down his bubble once he got that. So once you get the projected barrier from Zarya, the timing on the Winston barrier is very small. It's like he plays a little less plays a little more conservatively rather with his timing there, and it makes it look a lot better. So yes, he can't stay in nearly as long, but he also stays alive much longer. So he allows A10 to get a ton of value. And off the back of that, when you're creating space, it allows Feast to get in the backline to get those hacks off to start farming the EMP and obviously the blade and the Genji, as a result, gets more space as well. So across the board, just a better compositional setup. Now to downtown, though, we are going to see the mirror composition. Nothing surprising here. A lot more range for the Ashe compared to perhaps the flanking role.
We'll see. Shikari going over to that Tracer. You're going to lose some of the big fight win potential of the Blade. Perhaps be able to put a lot of pressure onto that back line. Bees finds first blood, though. Landed shots true with the Viper. Takes down WeQ as well. Money Crew winning the battle for the movie theater. A wonderful opening fight. They're going to move down and pick up first control.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that SMS was expecting the double shield mirror, despite the angle that they took. The fight they took was kind of ill-conceived. Now on the high ground there, they're trying to walk back in before the setup can come through, but Beezy's laying them down. The headshots coming in from the Ashe.
Shikari making the swap over to the Genji, so we are back at the true mirror. Bijou dives in, finds one. A nice accretion. The battle for the movie theater resumes. Once again, it is all SMS caught in this small room. Morningstars just have nowhere to work. FaZe is free to lay down the fire.
And I think most importantly from this is that there is not really much being generated by SMS in those fights, right? You're not really getting into an engagement where you can start to build your resources up to a modicum of any sort of ability in this next fight. So coming in, the rally's gonna be online for the defense. You're also gonna have some impact DPS abilities coming through. This is all Shoes Money for.
100%, and it's being reflected in the ult department. Ant Matrix to start things off. Hades taking full advantage, and immediately both tanks from Morningstars go down. Back to spawn, and Shoes Money Crew finding their rhythm in a big way here on the back half of Busan.
And a completely inexpensive a fight there too. Just the amplification matrix as they play around the corner and surprise SMS on the retake. So a smart play now. Here is going to be the key one. If they get this amplification matrix and get a pick off, SMS will be back in.
Could help them build up the rest of those ultimates that Samsung Morningstars desperately need. They got to get through Bijou's Blade first. Nice accretion will help with that. Bijou finds nothing, despite the supercharger being on the field. Pop thrown out, but easily dealt with by Shoes Money Crew. Rally pop by Adnark to give that extra armor to push in, and WeQ's going to go ahead and drop the flux. In fact, dueling fluxes, neither of which finding too much value. Oh, despite being a kill down, Blade comes out, but Samsung Morningstar can't even touch the point.
It's a really good read there from A10. Actually, they deny the touch from SMS, and as a result, we are given that one round of victory to Shoes Money Crew. So there's a 100-0 at the very end there. Shoes Money Crew come back in a big way, as you highlighted, on Mecha Base to turn the tides of the map in their favor. And I think a poor adaptation at the very start of the map that they weren't able to really ever get in back into the rhythm in round number 1. But since then, with Shoes Money Crew, with the adaptation to the Winston, and then obviously evolving into the double shield, they put SMS on ice and take map number 1 pretty handily, despite the 2-1 scoreline.
It was very clean fight, especially there on downtown. SMS had no room to work. They couldn't even get out of the two entrances they were trying to push through, consistently trying to push either down the far right alley where it was so narrow, it was just easy sight lines, and then trying to come through main. They were just running into all that damage coming out of A10, easy pickings, behind in the ult economy the entire time. We're going to head to Junkertown map 2, see if Samsung Morningstars can bring this thing back, tie us up.
We have to highlight there's often an element of this particular meta that we're in where we see a lot of duels between DPS players. We didn't actually see a lot of that in map number 1. There wasn't very. I would describe that map as a very macro-based team fights. There weren't. So it was very high level. There was no individual 1v1s that were really happening. It was basically the six-man setup, and they would fight each other. And the team that got the first pick off would often snowball that in evenly across the board of their players into the next team fight. So we didn't really see any huge pop-off moments from either team realistically. But it doesn't matter, because if you're playing that 6v6 style, then you're gonna head, you're gonna start to see one pickoff starts to mean the difference between a fight winning and losing. You don't really have those clutch moments. So with Choose Money Crew, playing a more stable style in the later stages of the map, we started to see that kind of evolve. And heading into Junkertown now, this is a map that I think relies a little bit more on those carry moments, or those carry potential situations, where you think about things if you're playing the Widowmaker, for example, to get that headshot cross map and kind of set up the fight for your team. Is that going to be an evolution even still beyond the first fight, where we see the teams start to play that more carry potential style, and stay away from the more, shall we say, generalized 6v6 aspect of kind of what we saw in map number 1?
And we were discussing a little bit before this series, but feeling that Samsung Morningstars have a little bit more experience on the battlefield, and perhaps that experience will come in handy. The DPS might be able to give them the slight edge here, but the tanks are going to have to stay alive long enough to give them the room to work. Morningstars coming out on the defense to start things off as we head to sunny Australia.
We are going to take a quick look as the teams assemble their heroes, and we'll get an estimation of what comes through.
Looks like we are going to see that Widowmaker.
Yeah, at least early on. There's been it's Junkertown. Junkertown has played around the Widowmaker for quite some time. It's a long range first point.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of cover necessarily. You can get around it pretty easily, so the Widowmaker can really do a lot of work. And there's some pretty good Widowmakers in the field actually. So amusingly, one of the better ones is playing off tank at the moment, as A10 was previously a hit scan player, made the switch over to off tank full time. But FaZe is going to take that role in place now. So keep an eye out for sure on FaZe out the door. As you can get that first pick off, this could really deny that angle, that push, or sorry, really enable that push, I should say, here early on.
Oh, one early pick from FaZe could get this card almost to the back door with just that single pick off. Can FaZe find the shot? It looks like the Brigand and the Sigma headed to the high ground, while the front line is just going to conservatively push cart. Defense are relegating themselves to that back corner. They're not going to try to get too aggressive here. FaZe with the jump shot, has the sights in, can't quite thread it through the water tower. Now, still got the Sigma, pushing up to the high ground. Haul through, but the rock not quite on point. Kukabov sitting in the back, trying to lay down some fire, but it's tough to get through those double shields.
The Widowmaker really relies on her team to do the scouting, and it's really tough when you're rotating around like that. And while that's happening on the card here, it's just been an all-out brawl.
Now the Oasis is going face to face. We're gonna get to the meat of this thing. Chicory getting right into the thick of it himself, finds a pair of kills. And that's a good start for the defense. Fake Lion, the 14-year-old prodigy, winning the duel against the counterpart of Oasis.
Clean start. Now, look at, you can kind of tell the tale of the fight via, sort of the ult economy after fight number 1. And WeQ actually has the Gravitic Flux online well ahead of A10. So I don't know necessarily that Choose Money Crew is going to expect this online. So in this next engagement, it's going to be all the team in green as SMS sets up. Expect a halt Gravitic Flux, or even perhaps a halt plays.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, LaFada, is that Shikari's already got that blade ready to go. Dueling Ant Matrixes down directly in front of each other. Double damage out for both teams. Bolt in from the attacking team. And here comes the supercharger from Fake Lion. That's going to prompt the blade. Blade's going to fly 2, finds 3. Looking for the Orisa. Can he chop through? The big Orisa does. Turns around, gets FaZe. A beautiful blade for Shikari. 5K before it's all said and done, with a little help from Fake Lion getting that final blow.
Yeah, that's still not bad value at all coming into this, as only now, here in about third and a half fight, is Choose Money Crew getting online into what I would consider fighting position. Now they can actually take a real engagement. But even with that, this Gravitic Flux is still available, as is the rally. Just an early go button here, man.
That Feature's going to go ahead and pull off the blend on the back of that. It's his turn to go with Slicing and Dyson. Trying to take down one of the hardest targets in the Brig, but does win that duel. Shikari trying to bring it back, but without their tanks, it's going to be very difficult for Morningstars to hold here. Might be an opportunity for a recontest. People barely alive. Somehow stayed alive on that point for so long. Eventually cleaned up there by SAP.
The later rally ends up winning that fight just a little bit more, and that's realistically speaking, should have always been SMC's fight. They had to use a lot more they had to commit a lot more to that fight to really get in. They're only going to have the rally here on the recontest, the rally amplification, or sorry, the supercharger amplification matrix. So it's all damage all day here as SMS choose to give up a point. They don't want to go for that recontest. It's a pretty dangerous situation. So.
Yeah, you risk just feeding so much ult charge to the attackers, which can turn into a massive snowball on point B. If you're Samsung Morningstars, you got to be happy with the time that you took off the clock on point A. And they're going to get aggressive and just push right up the stairs. Matrix coming out from Hades. A huge kinetic grasp. He's got to be sitting at about 900 health right now, but nevertheless, still backing up, trying to retreat from the incoming damage from Hades. He's going to go and throw down the supercharger. Shiguru responds by pulling out the katana. Finds two immediately. Looking for the third as Morningstars have driven SMC all the way back out to point A.
This is not a good fight though for SMS as they lose two key players and a slow-moving one at that on the exit. It was a clean fight with the with the supercharger, with the blade, but with how much they took, in terms of with dropping Ryukyu and Chicory at the end there, you have to reset now. You have to retreat a little bit, and you let SMC back in.
No one
I think
can
Hubris got the better of Samsung Morningstars on that one, following Shu's money crew all the way out. But they are still able to hold on the high ground. They're not falling out too much, and an early kill from Kukubaya. Damage window up on the high ground is going to force SMC back out of that LOS. In fact, the Brig and the Sigma getting caught out a little bit here. Fake Lion getting hyper aggressive with a little help from CQ. And another great hold from Samsung Morningstars.
A really good retake there actually on the high ground. They walk back in before SMC really kind of resets their own mentality. And if the previous fight was SMS kind of taking it lackadaisically, this one definitely was Shu's money crew. Now SMS are really back in this. Good halt, but not quite good enough. And I mean, look at what SMS has online here. They're gonna have the Bob here preventing the re-entry.
Oh, but with that big kill from Bijou, Secret's not gonna get that blade online. Could be a massive turnaround. Biju's gonna go and pull out one of his own, rallied up, Arbor for days, try to take down the Ashe, does eventually get it. I think the blade was almost more of a distraction for A10 to push in and get the damage done with the hyperspheres.
You can hear Bijou just shouting, no wrench, on that last slash there. As, the Ashe lives for an extra second longer, but no matter, as they are going to get the payload moving. And it looks like now the defense is going to elect to give this one up. They're going to go for an early hold here in third point, and they should be able to win this fight out. With a supercharger, with the Gravitic Flux online, they are likely going to be able to stall this payload out and put themselves in the last fight territory.
Yeah, SMC's got to play this really smart. They have just an Ant Matrix online. They need to do their best to draw out as many of these ultimates from Samsung as they can. Otherwise, with less than 2 minutes on the clock, things could get real difficult as they try to round the spinner. DQ taking up what an impressive posture there. Just try to hold that high ground. Immortality Field used as the blade comes out. Shikari's not able to find anything else with the equipment, but with such low health pool, Weak, he's able to throw down the Gravitic Flux. Find one, does eventually lose the duel to A10. But I think it was enough for Morningstars to stabilize here. Now just about 80 seconds on the clock.
And I mean, that again puts you in last fight territory. The one issue there is that you don't build up to the rally, which you kind of need to kind of close out this map. So while we are in sort of that pseudo last fight territory, 1.5 fights left in the map, it is still looking pretty good for SMC to keep this going.
Yeah, despite using 3 ults in that last fight, they still have plenty to work with. Ant Matrix is down as Trace comes through. A10 for Adnar. And Shu's just caught in the corner. They can't seem to get out of this doorway. There's just too much focus fire coming through. They look one way, and Shikari dashes through and takes him out from the other. Now, truly a last fight territory, but Shu's Money Crew coming back with a host of ultimates. That payload has so far to go, though, LaFon.
Yeah, we are about even in terms of all resources here. So it's all about execution in this fight. The thing is, though, is if SMS realizes that they have to cut their losses, then they can actually just quit the fight early and go back for a second retake with better health.
3 ultimates coming out at the same time. Supercharger, Rally, and Blade all on the field. Between the 3, it's going to net them 3 kills in all. Bijou there to finish off the Ashe. And you called it. It's exactly what's going to happen. Samsung Morningstars cutting their losses here.
Yeah, this is actually really, really bad for SMC in this next engagement because they have to go through Rally, Blade, Supercharger as the 3 resources they have to kind of kite through. I would expect this to be a rally out of spawn as they get ready for this first fight, so they have armor stacked up. You have to survive the Gravitic Flux and the Bob, and if you can get through that, the Supercharger Blade will close this map out.
Not only are they going to have a buff up Blade to get you to deal with it, if the fight claws on, we will get that Flux online. Diving into the back, the Blade finds 1, finds 2. Dash reset through the Orisa, and this is all Samsung Morning Stars. No way she's money could survive the onslaught of ultimates.
Just patience there. In a last fight scenario like that, you have to be able to track. You have to be able to track what is being used by your opponent and realize that if you're losing a fight, to have the fortitude to just reset yourself and say, don't use anything else, and then your team waits, comes back in for a guaranteed fight win. So I really like the adaptation there from SMS's Shoes Money crew. It looked good for them having been able to push, but they were unable to really get that key resource, which in my opinion is the rally in that last fight scenario. Having that armor in that last fight when you're going up against a lot of damage throughput is just so key to your survivability. And yeah, Adnar stays alive long enough with the rally to generate the armor for his team. And that's going to be the hold here. That being said, this map is not over, not even close.
Not even close.
If Samsung Morning Stars wants to get back into this series and tie it up 1-1, they're going to need to cap the map.
And I think it's going to all start with a good push here. They need to get through point A with a nice timing, put themselves in a comfortable position where they can have those economy pushes, you know, give themselves time to where they can lose a fight on point B. But if they can push through point A in a fairly flawless fashion, should put them in a good position to take it all. No changes in compositions. Looks like the Orisa holding very aggressive here for SMC, while the rest of the team is sitting way back. Rock from downtown hits shield.
I mean, you're just gonna give up the initial cart progress. You want that first natural choke to kind of take the fight, and Shoes Money crew playing to the poke game at least early.
Yeah, trying to get some ults build up. Dangerous proposition though with Kookaburra on that Widowmaker. Fortunate that they didn't lose a head in that early hold. Now Kookaburra trying to shut down, get one deflected back. But Samsung Morningstar's doing a good job of getting cooldowns out. We saw the Flux use, shields going down, and Shoes kind of on the back foot here, but this is where the first real fight's going to take place. You have the Widows dueling each other, the Sigmas right in each other's face. Get more efficient use. SCB comes out with the Anti-Matrix first. So Riku's just going to push right past it. Unfortunately, the rest of the team cannot. And Shoes with a good hold on that last corner here on point A.
The one side effect of dealing a lot of damage but getting no eliminations is that you just generate the defensive resources of the opposing team, and Sab actually is the one that gets to the Amplification Matrix online with nothing, you know, in the bank to kind of defend against it. You're forced to just eat that damage, and that's going to be a team wipe and reset. And I mean, it still took them a long time, more than a minute half actually, as this next fight commences.
Samsung will have Flux and the Blade. We should get him in that order. Oh, but a beautiful rock. Riki doesn't quite get the shield in the right position, gets stunned out of the accretion. Bijou gets one with the Blade, but does get taken out. Samsung not out of this fight with a beautiful shot. Make that two from Kookaburra. Samsung absolutely looking to push this home despite the early advantage going to Shoes. And SMC now running into the small mega room decides that's not a good position. That is a dangerous spot from the D, and they get out of there quickly. Supercharger comes out, countered or accompanied by the Flux, excuse me. But between the two tank goals, it's still not enough. Shoes running through losing members. Let's find one, but now sitting at 1 health as the Brig and the Orisa fall. Point A will go to the hands of Samsung Morning Stars.
That fight danced on a knife's edge that entire time, and realistically, it was only SMS getting their Gravitic Flux online that was able to help them close out the point. Without it, it was looking like a hold at the moment. So you're gonna see SMS taking a very aggressive angle with Widow here because they had the infra site obviously, so they'll be able to sort of shut down the entry here.
SMC can go challenge that high ground, force Morning Stars off. Lefon not able to land that shot through the 3 shields in his way. Oh, but the jump shot lands. Beautiful stuff there from Kukaball. He answers back, though, not to be outdone. Bijou wins the Ninja Duel. So 1-man advantage, and Samsung Morningstar's missing their main tank, and their Genji forced to reset here a little bit.
I'm going to still try and keep space here with the amplification matrix. I don't know that it's necessarily working.
No, I'm not sure how to use that there.
And, I mean, they're just jockeying for space here, and it's being kind of effective as a lot of ground has been given up here by Choose Money Group.
It is, and she's kind of forced to separate a little more than I think they would like. He's dropping Emperor sight to be able to see all the incoming angles. And early immortality field used, though. This is going to make an opening for the attackers if they can survive the onslaught from the Flux and the Blade. So far, everybody but fake line. Oh, but a beautiful hold enables Bijou to get that last kill with a very final swipe, putting an end to this push.
Bijou is thanking his lucky stars as the halt came in. He kind of beat the dash just a little bit, getting hooked into the wall as opposed to into his opponent. But they're going to get the kills regardless, though. And that's going to be now a reset here. Still a very expensive fight for the defense. As relative to what's coming online here, you expect the Gravitic Flux to be sort of the opening of this fight, and then have the Blade / Supercharger close it out, try to cap this point here if you're SMS.
Yeah, if anything, you want to use that Flux to get the immortality field out. Once that's out of the way, Shikri has full reign to take over with the Blade. Early amplification matrix, just forcing Samsung to back up a little bit out of that LOS. An odd ant matrix from Akaya, who gets picked off in the process. That one doesn't have any angle on the defense. Here comes WeQ with the Flux. This is where we're going to really get started. Shikri is pulling out that Blade. Finds 2, chop it at the Ori, so that will eventually take down the 4-legged tank. Samsung will eventually pick up point B.
And I mean, you know, this is still, I mean, they're wasting a little bit of time, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. There it is. Cap will come through in just a moment, but now we're looking at about, what is it, 2.5 minutes? Yeah, 2 minutes 36 to be put on the board here for this final fight. And I mean, we're about even in this last round, or in this map, as we were in the previous one. As, I mean, the only difference being that Rally is available, and Rally is a very good ability to kind of use to grind out a round. That means that, you know, SMC can't really take nearly as aggressive a fight as SMS did the last time around here. But
no,
the damage mitigation is going to play off.
Yes, sir. The damage mitigation of that Rally cannot be underestimated. Gravitic Flux starts things off from the defense, coupled with the Blade, but Immortality Field right there to protect Samsung Morningstars. It's eventually chopped through, as is Akaya, but Bijou can't find any more than that. Ends up paying for with his life. Early Immortality Field used from Shoes might be just the opening Shikri needs to get work done on the back end. Assuming he can get this Blade up, nice halt is going to enable that. Blade's ready to go. Katana out of its sheath, and into the back line goes Shikri.
Yeah, he gets hit with the dynamite though. Oh boy, everyone's going down.
And eventually, despite surviving the early Blade, Shoes Money Crew does fall. Samsung will tie up the series.
A close round still, though. We have a game on our hands. This is one that I would not be surprised if we go to 5 as we get into map number 3 here in just a moment. But you know, the thing that we said about SMC in map number 1 is their adaptation to what was being run by SMS, right? Shoes Money Crew was able to kind of reset and take fights in their sort of wheelhouse. Here in Junkertown, I think the opposite came through, and we saw the combos kind of work out. The combos rather work out a little bit better for Samsung Morningstars, I should say, as we saw a lot of the Dragon Blade Supercharger combos just get a lot more value.
Yeah, I think the ult economy was a little bit better from them as well, or should I say the discipline with it. It seemed that they had a plan. They had more of an exact plan on how they wanted to execute and got it out. The timing is so
is so delicate between when you use Flux to get the IF, to get the blade out and find the opening to get into that back line. Samsung able to find that perfect timing on that one.
And I mean, there's also an element of you have to deny the opposing team. You have to be, extremely judicious with the use of those high cooldown, resources, especially, the immortality field, how essential it is to survive through fights. And the longer you can wait without succumbing to pressure before using it, the more likely you are to win the fight, right? So the fact that the immortality fields are forced out very early is either a case of being too greedy with, a little, or not greedy enough, I should say, in terms of what your team can sort of withstand in terms of damage incoming,
right.
Or your team is just taking too much damage. One of the two is true. And I mean, for Shoes Money Crew, I think it's a little bit A, a little bit of B on Junkertown. There was a couple of immortality fields that came out really early and allowed Chicory to come in with the blade and, the gravitic flux from Wiki to actually get value in places that perhaps, if you wait just a little bit longer, you get a little bit more pressure withstood from.
And like you say, is it positioning from the tanks? Is it the BAP being a little trigger happy? Probably a little bit of both. We'll be keeping an eye, see if Shoes Money Crew can tighten that up, because it absolutely lost him that map.
And I mean, we are going to head now to map number 3, which is Assault. And Assault is going to play a little bit differently than the other 2 maps we've seen so far. It's a lot slower, a little bit more methodical, but when you have that explosive moment, it's go, go, go. So just poking each other out, trying to find out where the weaknesses lie. And then when you identify it, that's when you execute. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes through, as we're gonna get the team compositions here in just a moment.
I love this map. I love to see the approaches on Anubis. Do you go through the small room? Do you go through Mega and put yourself in that vulnerable position? Do you bring something, perhaps a little bit off kilter, like Shoes Money Crew is showing us right now? Though obviously they do still have 20 seconds to change their mind on that. But even on the defense, Samsung Morningstar's showing us the Winston and the Zarya.
The double shield is still really good on the defense. Actually, it's good on both sides, but you can still get a ton of value of the Winston here. It reminds me a lot of how you used to play the tank line in the Winston version of 3-3 here on Anubis in terms of how you play through the Winston Zarya. The Winston goes in, gets some pressure, uses the bubble, builds energy, and then you start to cycle that while you're, in this case, Genji and Hitscan start to just put pressure on with their generation of ultimates.
My concern with the Winston is that you give up that center platform. I feel like it's so much easier to push on and take center platform and kind of control the majority of the positioning on point A. Hades going to dive over the top, trying to put pressure down onto the Zarya. Then get WeQ out of this fight. That would be a massive win. Should enable the snowball, but they got to survive Shikari's Genji, which Boomer cannot.
Sad just had too much pressure to kind of deal with. The Ana had to deal with too many low health targets. So the kill comes in from the Dynamite, essentially.
But the tanks from SMC are staying in this fight and getting work done. B's able to get the kill on the Fake Lion. And oh, but they opt to go up the middle. They had such good positioning, looking to take that high ground. They let that go. One right at the middle, and he shot the ball. Forced the Nano Blade early, the Nano, onto the Winston, who does dive in to take Anar out of the fight. The normal res available. Bob thrown in from the distance to try to help SMS fortify. But it looks like Shoes Money Crew actually around. The Nano now thrown onto Shikari to help build up towards that blade, though it's not quite ready to go just yet. May have been a bit preemptive, though at the end, Shikari will help them sustain and stabilize.
This is not over yet. They hold for the moment, but I'm not convinced they stabilize.
Fair enough.
Even with this resurrect on Akaya, there is still a go button available. The rally is here. And I mean, this EMP can shut down a lot of avenues for this blade.
And still a window for a power play from SMC. Working on the high ground. Ooh, translocates out just in time to avoid the shots from Kukuba. Now just kind of scouting, trying to get that precious info on where the defense is setting up. Oh, EMP comes out, finds 3, and does keep Shikari from using that blade. Telling the future there, LaFawn makes for easy pickings for Hades with the Primal Rage. There's no escape cooldowns.
for half of the defense, and Samsung Morning Stars fall to that beautiful EMP from Peace.
He is so greedy with that EMP, and it worked out. But man, walking into a team of basically 3 different people and saying, "Yeah, there's not much you can do to me." Sometimes you just get lucky. You have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, and Fees gets the EMP off. And without the access to those abilities, you're just not going to win that fight, right? You don't have the Dragon Blade, you don't have the Graviton Surge, you don't have the Primal Rage to kind of sustain through. It's going to be the end of the fight. Now heading to point B. This should realistically be the defenses. They just have more things to throw out. Blade comes in early.
The Graviton kill. Yeah, the Graviton Surge invested from A10 to try to shut down the Blade, but unsuccessful. Didn't seem to find much of anything. Maybe got 1 or 2 in there, but it certainly didn't get Shingri the prime target, the priority they needed to find.
Weirdly enough,
2 ults. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, it's not actually support ultimates they're used to kind of counter out the Blade. I mean, the rally to a certain extent, but you often see the Graviton Surge used to deny the Nano Boost combo. But that wasn't a Nano Boost combo. It was just a vanilla Blade. So you need to be able to shut the Blade down without having to commit the Graviton Surge, right? If it's a Nano Blade, sure. But if it's just the raw Blade, you need to have that closed out with just abilities.
And now Samsung Morningstar still have the ult advantage. Nano Blade coming out from the other side. He goes Graviton into the back line, finds Kaya, and there's the Graviton Surge to deny any more value from that Blade. He follows it up with a beautiful kill down the feed, burns him right down with that laser beam, and back to spawn goes SMC.
See how sad the Genji is when he's got the Nano Boost and he can't get any kills. There is a sort of element of rock, paper, scissors, if you will, to this Genji matchup. The Genji will, now there's 2 ways you can play this. You can use the Genji Blade as sort of a bait. You go and you dash in the air, and then you watch Zarya go for the Graviton to deny you, and use the Nano Boost in the Winston, for example. But if you're going to commit to the Blade, you got to commit to the push as well. And in my opinion, Mike did not do that. The Blade does not get any value, and you got 1 kill, which on assault is not good enough.
No, certainly not. EMP out, gonna find 4, but Adnar can't. Beautiful play from the Blade out of it. Rally pop, and Shikari goes down to 8 hit. Now we're gonna get the rally from the attacking team, but it feels like Shoes Money Crew on the back foot of this fight. He's not really able to find much ground, at least not just yet. And that's how Bijou gets to that kill. He's able to find 1, and Primal Rages pop. That should be the go button for SMC to push on his objective. Already down a couple members. Samsung trying desperately to recruit so they can get a good retake on this point. Big climb, pushing back on into the objective. She's looking to burn down the brig, but reinforcements come through for the SMC, and now Bijou pulled out that Blade, finds the Ana with it. Nice 3K before it's all said and done here for Bijou. 2 ticks already picked up for SMC.
Is that going to be enough, though? These kills need to be a lot quicker. I think that should be enough to close out the mouth.
Yeah, the Primal Rage might enable Thickline to hold on a little bit longer despite being hacked. And we will be returning with the Graviton Surge. Graviton Surge comes out, finds 3 is the follow-up there. No, the rally is gonna keep Shoes Money Crew fully topped off and standing. Now they're gonna turn the tides, put the pressure right back on to the defense. Clean up those kills, cap point B with the Bucko 6 left of the time.
The important thing is that 6 seconds. The fact they're able to get over a minute means no matter what the time bank, meaning that if the overtime hold comes in on point B, then they will actually be able to deny a second attack run here for SMS. So Shoes Money Crew set themselves up a relatively decent win condition, but man, that took them a lot longer than I think it needed to. The Blade denial that starts that whole playoff is exactly what I'm talking about, though, right? Shigiri comes in without any sort of resources to kind of back him up and is hack stunned and instantly deleted by A10, right? So that's kind of what you have to do. If the Genji doesn't have any support, then there really shouldn't be any need to kind of use the Graviton Surge to deny him in any forward momentum. Obviously, that starts a snowball effect that when you lose 1 on Temple of Anubis, when you lose 1 on Assault, it starts to be able to open up the point just a little bit more. You get in and slowly trading out kills. It is, of course, SMC who gets the eventual advantage. But this is a different adaptation. As we're going to see the double shield and the offense rather than the defense here, as they, I think, expect the Winston Zarya coming in and feel they can take that frontline pressure just a little bit better than their opposition can.
And perhaps be able to control the positioning and just squeeze SMC back, corral them into the area where Samsung Morningstars wants to fight.
We'll see how they choose to approach. Do you go up to the high ground on the far right side from the attacker's point of view? Do you take Mega, take center platform?
Attackers incoming. Defend.
Looks like
You play
defense
through left room of the Mega Pack here, right? That's kind of what you have to do here as the double shield. You take high ground here. They're gonna walk in.
Oh, I think they knew exactly where Hades was sitting, what they were trying to do, and immediately take the Winston down. They lose Kookaburra along the way, but that spawn advantage should go in Samsung's favor, assuming they can keep the pressure on. Now they're just going to back out. They're not going to take the high ground. They opt to go right up the middle, looking a little indecisive. And to take the battle right to the objective. Nice hard rock, but the bubble there denied too much damage. Adnar hacked up, Immortality Field forced out, but it's not enough to keep Akaya and Fake Lion alive. And back to the drawing board goes Samsung.
Yeah, that's just greedy. I mean, taking the low ground approach, if you can get the first pick off and then go through uncontested is okay, right? That's where you can kind of just... High ground is very powerful. It's a very, very powerful tool, as a certain famous monk, I guess, technically said. The issue here is in this sustained character, if you don't get through unperturbed, the the Bionade comes in and actually denies your healing. So all your sustained tools have been removed and your composition falls apart. So a greedy play there from SMS and they get punished for it.
And now he has the Nano Blade ready to go, which comes out immediately. Bubbled up, charged up. Bijou finds 3, finds 4, finds 5 with the blade. Massive Genji blade there from Bijou. Samsung Morningstar's just caught in a tiny room with a very angry Genji.
And that actually just puts SMS in a complete disarray, because you're going to get your Graviton Surge up midway through this next fight. You're going to have, obviously, the EMP and the Primal Rage for sustain. And now things are looking a little bit dire here. This blade is going to have a hard time getting through without the Supercharger, and the Supercharger can be easily denied with an EMP.
Kookaburra making the swap over to the Torbjorn, and this time Samsung Arm moving up to the high ground. Take a little bit of, well, it's usually a defensive posturing, overlooking the point. Fake Lion can go ahead and drop down. That means Hades is going to drop to the high ground. 5-man EMP, and out comes the Primal Rage onto the backline of Samsung Morningstars. Bijou up there with the Winston, focusing down all three. Both healers taken out by that duo, and there's no way the rest of the team can survive.
Adnar actually does get the stun in on the Sombra. Unfortunately, it was perhaps a second too early, as after the stun wears off, the EMP comes through from Keys. And obviously with the armor from the rally, you're not killing the Sombra fast enough. So that's going to be the hold. This is the fight that you have to win if you're SMS, and you have to win it cleanly. You need to not use too much. There's the Graviton Surge, though.
Gonna fight too. Goes and pulls out that blade. That will cut through 3 members of Shoes Morningstar, or Shoes Money Crew. Let's not get my team names confused there. And it's fairly clean, though I think a little more expensive than Samsung Morningstars would have liked here.
It's certainly more expensive than I would have liked. I don't think you need that Supercharger at the end there. Absolutely not. Fake Lion, you're not going to have that to be able to punch through the later stages of this fight, and you're going to go up against the Nano Blade in a couple of moments. The win condition here, I think, is you set up the amplification matrix as you head through dark, pressure out the defense enough, and then put the Molten Core on the objective. But it's going to be a tough order here, especially with Sad getting this Nano Boost online, the Primal Rage, to break through the map.
Not to mention, Samsung Morningstars find themselves in a small room with that Genji once again, as Bijou goes in, just up with his katana. Not able to find too much though. The Torbjorn doing a great job of denying the position. Samsung Morningstars push on to the objective. Primal Rage out to try to force them off, and Hades does get that kill with that. Bijou is finding a pair of his own, makes that a 3K for the Genji.
That is a better fight than I think it looks at first glance. It's a full third of the point taken, first of all, but you also take away the win condition that was established by the defense, right? And now you can make your switches up. So you can win this next fight in Brawl, because as long as you can kind of survive the first part of this EMP, there's nothing to punch through the EMPs at, right? There's no blade, there's no primal, there's no grab. So as long as you can sustain through this first fight, you'll be okay actually, and with your better sustain, win out the map essentially here.
certainly have an opportunity to do it. Shikari can get that blade online and perhaps be the tool to cut through the defense. EMP comes out. That's going to find 5. Oh, man, but they can't survive the onslaught afterwards. Putting themselves out in the open, just vulnerable to all the damage coming through and no cooldowns to counter it back.
That was a very, very good bubble from Hades, actually. Once the EMP goes out, the bubble goes down and isolates the healing targets. So even though the healers were fine, there's just not enough line of sight to kind of do anything there. So a good read on the EMP play and puts SMC now back in advantage. They're again going to have that combo up. They're going to have defensive abilities here in the rally, and this blade is looking a little bit bare in terms of the space it has to take here. Oh no, though.
Oh, that's a good start for the attackers, and here comes the Flux. Bubble juice to negate that damage, but you just have a Zed and the Ana backing into the corner, which makes for easy pickings for Shikari. Does pull out the Digi Blade. He got Zed. I deflected right back, and now it's he's trying to pull out one of his own. Finds one, but doesn't eventually get taken down by Riku. The tanks from Samsung Morningstar still alive and well, still wreaking havoc on this objective. The A10 try and desperately use those bubbles, use that boost of damage, but it to no avail. Even the Baptiste getting into the mix. Kaya finding a pair of kills. 2-6 already picked up. And Samsung will complete the round and keep some time in the bank as well. So they do get their third attack to be heading to extra innings.
Enemy of the economy is, or sorry, the economy break is always the first pick, right? It's especially on assault where one pick can really easily snowball into another, and then obviously the team fight win. It doesn't matter if you have the better positioning or the better alt economy if you just lose the player first. And obviously with the DPS being picked off that quickly, it's gonna the house of cards falls apart. And so credit to SMS for really getting in aggressively, forcing that rotation. They go up on the right-hand side of the map from the attacker's perspective and kind of rotate on the point over that wall on the second point. And then, off the back of that pickoff, then you can commit the Gravitic Flux without really worrying, because you just need to get one more. You need to get people low enough where that 5v6 starts to become even more difficult to kind of support, and then it's a 4v6 and so on and so forth. So a decent stall, but not good enough, and it allows a second attack run here for the offense, for Samsung Morningstars.
Wonderful isolation as well coming from Samsung Morningstars. And I like when you're discussing that different look, the rotation from that right side. I love that they're able to adapt and show these different looks, try to keep SMC guessing.
This is a really tough thing to push into if you're the offense. It's double shield, first of all, but there's a Mei. And this is not a fast-moving composition here. If these can get this wall up and really isolate a target and they can assassinate them, this is the fight over. This is the round over immediately for Shuzo.
It's up to Kukuba here to find an early pick, give them that early advantage once again. Right now, Samsung Morningstars just seem stuck at the front door, and half their time's already gone.
They are going to have, however, because of how much spam they took. Oh, that's not a good enough wall. They need a kill here. SMC not getting it.
No, not getting it at all. Kukuba doing so much damage. Almost has that bomb online ready to go. Ant Matrix coming out from the defense as they desperately try to hold this high ground. And a little bit better wall there. Tried to deny the retreat, but a beautiful accretion keeps the pressure off of Samsung Morningstars, and they're going to go ahead and push it. A10! A10 picks off both supports in the back. A beautiful play, and now a lot of sustain missing from Samsung Morningstars as they attempt to push it onto this point. But if they can win this quickly, they can get to that third point on the board, and that's exactly what we're going to see happen. Kukuba throwing that bob in.
Yeah, just positioning. You give up the high ground. I understand what you're trying to do with that wall. You're trying to get the amplification matrix in, but the wall does not isolate enough people that you can actually execute, right? And with how much spam was coming in, we saw how good the Ashe Dynamite was there in those fights. Bob in first fight, I think it was a 40-second Bob.
Yes, sir.
That Dynamite was hitting a lot of people. So you gotta keep in. I would expect this to be a hold though, because the Blizzard on the point coupled with the Gravitic Flux, you just have so much zone control. This is gonna be tough to kind of execute into.
Monumental task for Samsung for sure. Blizzard and Blade coming out. Shoes trying to put one in of his own, but only gets the May, and it wasn't in time to deny the Blizzard. Now 8-10 for 3. Oh, that flux over the top. Samsung Morning Stars in a desperate situation. Fake Lion cannot survive. 3 points is all they're going to find here on Anubis.
Still, I mean, with a minute taken, the fact that with only a minute, the fact that you took point A is something to be expressive of, because there's only a minute 33 on the return, right? That your opposition has, and this is very easily full holdable here now for SMS if they want to take the lead in the series for the first time. So this is going to come down to that first fight. If your first fight is clean and you're able to get that first pick off, that all important pick off, to waste that first half time bank to start building your resources, especially on Assault, especially on Temple of Anubis, with the high ground that is afforded to the defense early, you're starting to look at this and you're saying, well, Samsung Morningstars are in a pretty good position. Yes, they only took point A, but that might actually be all that you need.
Choose Money Crew has 2 shots at this, 2 fights to even push for a draw. Looks like the defense will come out with the May as well. Thinking, that was a pretty good idea, Shoes. We might steal that plan. On the other side, Shoes going back to that dive with the Sombra.
Yeah, this is risky.
Very.
The May, there's a lot of displacement abilities or crowd control abilities here on the defensive end, and Hades is going to suffer greatly. A10 on the Diva. This is just straight up full dive actually from the offense.
Defend objective A.
Yeah, it's risky. No, he's going back to spawn. A10's going back to spawn.
Imagine we're gonna get to Zarya. Yes, sir. But now you've already lost 10% of your time just trying to decide what character to bring. But important decision nevertheless. How is the dive going to approach? You can see they're running into Coach Gun. They're running into Flail. They've got May to worry about. They've got Accretion Rocks to worry about. Almost everybody halts to worry about. Everybody but the Baptiste has CC that they're trying to dive on top of. Which means Hades is going to struggle to find the position he wants. Jumps up for take number 2, and immediately drops back down. A little bit of back and forth, putting that cleave on. Oh, A10 takes a big shot from Kukuba there. Whittle down super low, able to find the safety embrace of the healers. But Kukuba sitting on that high ground. Just able to range shots from above, but it is showing Crew winning the war of attrition on the center platform. A10, the DPS turns Zarya player, finds 2 quick kills, and he's going to help burn down the rest of the defense.
This is, critically speaking, the fight that SMC actually needed. They do not allow Shikari to get up to the Blizzard. So that means that they will have, in this fight, which they have 45 seconds, only 1 chance at this, they will have a small window of opportunity to actually be able to take this fight and just close out the map. 10%.
Either need to get that EMP online before the Blizzard comes online, or kill Shikari outright. They can deny Blizzard. It will go a long way.
The Blizzard's online now, unfortunately.
Yeah, the spam damage too good. EMP comes out though, but the Blizzard makes it out first. Nishu goes get the blade, and he's gonna find one with that. A10 burns down the May eventually. Fake Lion just trying to hold down the corner, throw down the supercharger in a desperate attempt to hold on to this, but it's not going to be enough. Graviton search for A10 to help clean things up. That 33% comes through. Choose Money Crew will take a 2-1 lead after a little bit of cleanup on the back end.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, that's the benefit of denying the enemy team the opportunity to build those resources that they need. There's a wholesale stall coming in, but it's not going to be enough.
No, it's gonna take a miracle here for Samsung to bring that back, and no miracle to be found today.
Yeah, the play does not come in, and I mean for SMC, I mean the key thing there is that they're able to win out point A without actually ever generating really the time needed for the May to start building up to the Blizzard, right? So with that being said, that means the May cannot play aggressively on the defense because they need to farm up their Blizzard, and you can tell with how passively that positioning was coming in. Bijou was able to go in with a Nano Blade. You were able to start to get your EMP online, and just timing was not in SMS's favor. So they are going to head to map number 4 at having given away match point to Shoes Money Crew as our series continues to go back and forth.
It sure does. We will be headed to Blizzard World for map number 4. We'll see if SMS can bring it back, tie things up, send us to that map 5. But
The timing so delicate. SMC executing perfectly there. A10 is an absolute beast on this Zarya. I am loving watching this Zarya play. It seems to really be able to carry any slack, any signs of weakness SMC shows. A10 seems to sew them right up.
And I mean, A10 historically has been a hit scan plus Zarya player. This is even before Goats, actually. Before Goats was a thing, before your hit scan player went over to Zarya role, that was A10's kind of sort of magic sort of hero pool. He would play the McCree, some Widow, some Ashe. I believe he had a niche Tracer, and then he would also play the Zarya consistently. So then when Goats happened, obviously DPS players, specifically hit scan, became Zarya one tricks, and that has kind of extended now into the current day where A10 has switched over to the off tank. But it's not the Zarya I want to talk about, because I think for A10, the Sigma is a big deal, right? It's easy to kind of say, okay, to chalk up his Zarya and say, listen, you're a Zarya player, right? You played Goats, you're a hit scan, that's right. That's just the way it'd be,
natural,
right? Sure. But the Sigma play has actually been pretty spectacular, I think, in general. I think, if anything, the one thing that leaves me a little bit concerned is sort of the shield placement. There were times where the shield would break a little too early, or he'd get caught out. I think it was the point A on the second attack on Temple of Anubis, where he was caught out and the Bob was able to burst him through his shield because it was just not quite at an angle that he was able to do anything with. But aside from that, mechanically, he's been totally fine. Accretions have been great. Fluxes have been great. All generations have been great. And a big part as to why SMC is here in this series.
On match point, heading into Blizzard World. SMC will start us off on the offense once again. Samsung Morningstar's taken to the defense with the double shield composition that we've come to know and love.
This is, if anything, the surprise here would be the offensive team running what they're running. Because double shield has been very consistent here on Blizzard World across all regions, really. It's not just North America. It's not just EMEA, right? It's been China as well. We've seen a little bit of it in Korea. So there has been, I think, consistently Blizzard World having the double shield. So we'll see how the dive kind of evolves and works out here.
Yeah, the interesting somber composition once again with the Zarya and the Winston. Winston just going to dive up to the high ground, try to claim that spot, as Samsung Morningstars have already opted to rotate back to the objective. Just putting in some spam damage. Looks like SMC trying to scout out how they want to approach this.
Looking for that opportunity. I mean, there's gonna be a rotation here from the tank, so choose money quick enough to make a decision sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Samsung Morningstar is gonna get aggressive and take the fight to them, but Bijou more than welcomes the fight, finding to immediately. Bijou even bring on the back line, and now the Ana's in trouble as well. Back on the front line, Hades goes down. Samsung Morningstar is going to go ahead and rotate back to point, but an effective, aggressive stance from the defense.
It's not a very effective push. It's flashy, but they don't really get any positioning from it. Now they're kind of trapped out of here in this mega room.
Yeah, there's nowhere for Shoes to run. Beast just has nowhere to hide from the damage. Easily caught out and separated way too far from the rest of the team. Early. Nice! Nanoblade coming out. About 20 into the fight, but can't seem to really find anything with it. Samsung being elusive, avoiding the blade beautifully. We're pushing in to try to take the fight. The counter shield dash comes through. Adnar, the difference maker here in this fight on the Brigade.
They get one tick for all of that, and it's not enough.
It was a 2-minute fight with tons of ults invested.
Yeah, especially when down one. There's a pick off to start that fight, and I mean, yes, I think it was your Sombra, so it's not going to be much use in the middle of the fight, but still a very greedy play. And now you're fighting into a supercharger, you're fighting into a blade. I mean, you've got basically everything online. So not only did the defense win that fight, they won that fight without giving up the point, and they didn't really use anything either. So they're going to be loaded for bear here as we set up, as Shoes Moneymaker sets up for the next attack.
Yeah, Samsung with the choice, pick out the litter, what they want to use. Well, Kukuba goes down, doesn't manage to get the Bob out, so we're still technically in a 6v6 if you count the big Omnic Butler. Hades pops the Primal Rage, looking to throw Risa into the drink, can't quite find that kill. Riku's going to respond with the Gravitic Flux, Rally and Ant Matrix both pop from the defense, so having a lot of ults to work with. Samsung throws everything in the kitchen sink at this fight. They do win it, but at what cost, LaFon?
5 ultimates is their cost. I mean, you set them up, I gotta knock them down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Please take it. Take it.
The question, I guess, now is how much of a hero is Shikari feeling like being today? Because that's kind of what you need here in this next engagement. It's kind of a mirror of the fight before this one because it was SMS using everything rather than choose money crew. But I mean, A-Time's gonna have the grab, you're gonna have the EMP and Nano Blade, of course. There's the EMP, there's Nano.
But it didn't get. I wasn't looking at immortality killed out, but it does not provide enough opportunity for the defense to get back in this thing. Blade, Graviton, Surge, Nano Boost, all thrown in by the attacking team. Choose Money Crew picking up this point. A lot of time eaten off the clock by the defense, though.
Choose Money Crew is very lucky that Team Kill Gong came through because that was literally everything they had. And I don't necessarily think. Come out and said, I don't think they should have used everything. I don't think they needed the Graviton at the end there. And now they have nothing here in this middle phase of the streets. A little cool piece of tech there from A-Time, but I mean, Shikari's Blade here should really be should really be able to do whatever it wants here.
Not a whole lot of discipline from either team in those last 2 engagements. Look a little bit like there's a group of people, everybody press Q. Now, SMC's bank totally dry. There comes an early Blade. Shikari's gonna go ahead and push it out. Who are you looking for? The bubble is there on the Zarya. The Winston jumps out of the way. Shikari finds absolutely nothing. Zilch with that Blade. What does manage to pick up these? And with that, looks like a soft reset coming through from SMC.
I say this with absolute sincerity. That was okay. Well, they're just gonna keep going. There's an Anubis and a Winston.
Yeah, diving right in. Rally popped in as well. But despite the fact Juice doesn't get any work done, Hades does eventually pick up 1 kill. Genji back there in the back. Okay, Hades is trying to carry this thing. The rest of his team had gotten pushed all the way back to the original spawn point. Hades said, "That be damn, I'm gonna hop in. I'm gonna get these kills. And we're pushing this car forward."
This is
What on earth is going on?
They're staggering the Orisa.
I like how he body blocked.
They're not gonna kill him.
Oh, what a smart play.
There's not gonna be a full 6-on-6 recontest from this point now.
Yeah, that heads-up play pretty much just blocked at point B, especially coupled with the 5-man EMP, as there was only 5 people standing for the defense. The Blade thrown in for good measure. I want to go back to that body block. I love how the Winston just stood their back turned, couldn't get headshot. I mean, that was just showing them their backside in all ways.
I mean, if you call that they have supercharger, right? So you're not afraid of just damaging away, like putting damage on board. In fact, that actually works for you in multiple ways because it allows you to build up your support ultimate. That was literally the perfect stagger.
And now overcoming a little bit of the time deficit. He's already on 3rd point, throwing down a Graviton Surge. Anubis goes on to Hades as he looks to clear through the pack. Blade coming in from the other side. Hades is going to peel back, try to take care of that Blade. Nice push and pull from the attackers.
And being hacked, Genji actually can't do anything.
Now Hades pops Primal Rage, finds 1 before Bob takes him out. Bob finds 2. Big Omnic Butler did something big, in fact. Sending Shoes Money Crew back to spawn this time. Man, these have been scrappy.
Scrappy and expensive. Even in a fight that you lose, the fact that you deny the defense any resources is very good. We're gonna see a Reinhardt. Oh my, okay. Why is Zarya
going over to the May?
This is sure. Okay.
You know, I'm not sure about it, but I like the gusto. It's a bold call, and I like bold calls. Here comes Bijou with the Nano Blade, diving in. He's gonna pick up 2 with that.
60 seconds.
Goes into the back. It's like, where did everybody go? Coomber and Fees have cleaned them up.
Now we are headed to the last fight of this point. Regardless, 50 seconds remaining. You are in last fight territory. Contest can't come through. Bob and Amplification Matrix are available here for the defense.
Well, if A10 can get this Graviton Surge built up sooner than later, it could be dangerous, but Wiki's going to deny that. Shikari getting the kill on the A10 itself. Nice hold on the back end with only 3 meters to spare.
30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds remaining. Can the offense even get into position to contest this point? They don't have anything online just yet, but they're coming into the rally. They're coming into the grab. It all depends on if they can survive. You know, if they can get to point, first of all, that's the first question. But then, can they survive the Gravitic Flux and the Blade from Shikari?
10
I think
seconds.
Biju's gonna climb over the wall here.
You just give me one touch. You can dash the point.
Yeah, I just dashed in. Wall up from the attacking team to allow SMC some space to work. They're gonna push in. Blade out from the other side. Rally here from SMC. Will it be enough? Oh, it keeps all but one alive. Oh, Bijou goes down. For any hope for SMC. Never mind. There went the hope of SMC. Both tanks drop. This is where Morningstars make their stand. What?
There's something at the end there of seeing everyone just frozen as the timer ticks
As
away.
the timer ticks down, yeah, I was like dying wish from the May, like, here, have my Blizzard.
But it's still a respectable showing on Blizzard World here from Shoes Money Crew. Especially with how long it took them to take point A and how inefficiently they did so. The fact they got any attack time on point C actually is a testament to how well they approached the latter half of the middle of the map, right? Especially with that stagger onto Big Line.
Stagger, yeah.
Yeah, that stagger really bought them enough space and time to be able to get to nearly the finish line. And I mean, eventually borrowed time runs out, so that's what happens there. So,
And
Yeah.
I fear we're getting a bit of lack of discipline here. I'm not sure if the teams are losing focus, but they don't look nearly as precise, like nowhere near as precise as even just the previous map. I mean, we got so brawly, SMC just straight went brawl composition.
there is an element to be said about using the brawl in a late stage like that. You just sort of press W at them, and in a case where they don't necessarily have ultimates, you can start to break their rotations down. A lot of Overwatch is based on these ultimates, right? It's a lot of team fights are based on the assumption that you're going to have them, right? Eventually, at some point.
Right.
But if that assumption breaks down in the last fight territory, right? Then you start to think, okay, maybe we can start to use brawl a little bit and sort of just win on basic abilities. Unfortunately, those ultimates were still there, so brawl ends up losing. But
They
now,
also,
I mean,
I think I had to brought a Lucio here, but yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here.
double shield mirror on the attack defense. Let's go.
Let's go. Crimson Morningstar pushing the left side. SMC just holding up close on the objective. They're not gonna fall back into the safer positions. They're staying right up in Samsung Morningstar's face. Fee's getting a nice shot onto Shikari. Dinking him right between the eyes with that Viper. And that's going to prompt a little bit of a reset here from SMS. Oh, nice eat on the dynamite there, A10.
Certainly. How much of a reset is going to be taken here? I mean, look at the defense will almost always have the advantage in sort of the dynamite and therefore the Bob, and CP's is ahead of his mirror competition. Oh, but the team goes down early.
Shikari finding the opening to get the brig out of there. Windows down, and Kukoba take a full advantage. Fake Lion does as well. And this is a swift point A, despite a little bit of a hiccup. Second attack is true.
Yes, sir. Now, I mean, looking at this, we're gonna get one of the more explosive fights we've had in this series, and if going through, you know, who's gonna click the go button first? Because I think that's kind of what you're looking at and saying, all right, who's gonna have the advantage? Well, it's the person who executes earlier. And I think that's actually gonna be the offense, since they have the benefit of the rally. So they'll be able to sustain just a little bit more quickly through this next fight. So expect SMS to try and play this one a little bit faster than you might otherwise expect.
Get out of my head, LaFon. I was thinking the exact same thing. Now it's all about timing. When do you pull the trigger on that? The offense can't give Shoes Money Crew too much time. Don't give them too much respect, because you're just going to allow them to catch up with you, and you're going to give away your advantage. I'm just going to go ahead and pop the rally early. Bijou is the one to respond with the blade from the defensive side, and he finds nothing. Immortality field perfectly timed from Samsung Morningstars. Kaya keeping the team in the fight. And now Shoes Money Crew have burned a lot of ultimates with nothing to show for it. What a beautiful kite here from the Morningstars. Now they have the opportunity to strike back. Blocks in, blade out. Oh, and a beautiful dash reset. Gets 4 before it's all said and done. Fees finally takes him down, but it's a little bit more than a moral victory here for Fees as Samsung Morningstars continue their stomp through Blizzard World.
Not only will they not get a recontest here on second is going to be very risky. Are they going for it? They really shouldn't now. Yeah.
So,
They're ooh. If
and now
anyone
they're
gets picked off here.
yeah, the fact that they even stuck their head out that far is super dangerous. Fees with a beautiful shot might be able to keep too much damage from being inflicted on SMC here as the front line does manage to fall back to first corner.
Still not out of the woods yet for SMC. Not only do they have time banks with disadvantage here, but they also don't really have much ability. Here's the supercharger, here's the blade.
We're gonna get the rally and the matrix from the defense. Supercharger. Couple with the bomb, able to find one, but that's about it so far. Now with waiting for cooldowns to come back online, Samsung Morningstar's gonna push forward. A little halt rock action, but Bob on the other side, keeping them at bay. Flux comes out. This is good to go. A10 goes down. We do getting a very aggressive chase in SMC into the mega room. Adnar right there to accompany that Sigma, help clean up.
We're gonna need a hero play from A10 and Bijou here if Shoes Money Crew want a chance to hold out this map because they're running again. Man, the timing is just not there. 3 minutes 48 seconds, and even if they get this hold, you're still looking at how much time is left on the map.
Halt into Flux, Blade out from the defense.
Blade's denied.
Builds down. Yeah, Bijou drops. Immortality build perfect. Adnar's rally, keeping the team in the fight. Too much for them to overcome. Samsung tie us up, sending us to map 5.
We highlighted at the start of the series how close these teams were to each other in terms of the skill level. We said that the teams they played against were about the same in terms of skill level, and so that playing up against Choose Money Crew versus Samsung Morningstars would really tell us the tale of who was better. And I mean, who's better is really going to come down to who wins this next map. It's not so much a skill level thing because I think they're about equal in terms of their overall average, parity, but certainly a very hotly contested series as we head into map number 5 here in just a moment.
Both teams come in with a 0 map differential, and after 4 maps, both teams are still sitting at a 0 map differential.
One of them is going to have a 1 at the end of today. But
Hey, it should be enough for second place. I mean, let us remind you at home, friends, seeds 2 through 5 are all tied up in the Group B division right now. This is such a small margin that's going to send one of these teams into contenders, and the other's going to be relegated back to open division.
it's a tough life out here in Contenders Trials, but that's the way it is, and you'll have to win if you want to sort of keep your fate in your own hands here. And realistically, both these teams have really impressed at moments in terms of their execution, in terms of their mechanical play, and at times have also left me questioning a couple of things. And by a couple, I mean the time when 5 ultimates are used, even though no one's left alive. Hey,
come on, you need Supercharger to kill that last one, okay?
I mean, listen, the ragdoll physics when they get shot with the Supercharger are just that much flashier.
They are fun to watch, but
I don't think the Supercharger has any effect on that, though. So, no, I mean, but that being said, I think this has not really been a criticism of any one team either. I think both teams have done sort of that kind of gung-ho, just throw everything to the wind situation as they kind of played out a couple of the previous maps. And by that same token, though, we've also seen from both squads excellent execution at times as well. So where both have made mistakes, both have made incredible plays as well. And I think, the synchronicity in the gravitic flux into the blade, where teams are, it's really easy to mess that up, right? When everyone's in the air, the Genji can easily lose track of targets and kind of get nothing of value. But when that combo comes through and you see like 5-6 people go down, it's pretty spectacular as well.
Especially the timing of working around the immortality field on the other side. The Frisbee alive has to be dealt with. And obviously the Flux can do that, but the timing just has to be so perfect.
We're going to see that first fight, though, commencing on Oasis here as the teams sort of posture up. SMC, they're peeking out. They want to see where everyone's in.
Yeah, knowing exactly where to pounce. Oh, so important. Exactly what Samsung and Morningstars are running. As we do see the dive composition coming back through. ATM back on that Zarya. And Hades on the Winston, burning down so much cleave damage. Just seemingly uncontested back there. Hades made that look easy.
Surround and conquer. That's exactly what you need to do. You can see the scouting coming through from Kumer and A10 as they see where everyone on SMS is set up. And Bijou dashes in, and actually, despite getting stunned, does not get picked off and is able to clean up a couple of kills. So excellent work there. Hades already having Primal Rage this early in the fight means he's going to be able to play extremely aggressively, should he so choose, as he tries to pressure out the team in green.
Samsung Morning Stars repeating actions from the first fight, rotating left. Hades does get caught out though. Does not get to press Q. But now Bijou's going to respond, pulls out the Blade. Immediately two people fall. The McCree, no chance, especially with Bees helping him out.
Hades gets a little bit greedy there, but ultimately does not matter. He waited an extra second to pop the Primal Rage and instead gets accretioned and then taken out. But while that's happening, that just means you don't have the stun available for the Dragon Blade with the Nano Boost. And they get the team wipe. Into this next fight, though, we've got the grab, we've got the EMP for SMC, and they will be able to play off the back of that. All about timing here, though, for SMC.
Kukabah coming out with the McCree here on this map kind of concerns me. The EMP just hits all 6. That flashbang a non-factor. In fact, all the cooldowns non-factor. All of Samsung Morning Stars right back into the spawn.
And I mean, the thing there about EMP is it actually breaks the amplification matrix. So while that was committed early in the fight, it actually just gets removed. And it was a free fight win. You literally just used EMP, the win more ultimate. So now walking back in, you're gonna have rally, you're gonna have grab. This is looking really good for SMC.
On the other side, we do have
everyone's in it.
Blade, Immortality Field out to protect against the incoming Graviton Surge. But there is just not enough. Hades able to pop that Primal Rage. And just too much damage pouring in. The follow-up, the focus fire, too good from Shoes Money Crew, and a clean 100-0 victory to start things off on Oasis.
I missed seeing Primal Rages juggling Dragon Blades as they go on the entry. It's been too long. And I'm sure, however, Shikari was not a fan of that as the Dragon Blade gets denied almost in its entirety. One thing to note is that the Graviton Surge there, the Immortality Field was in it. Immortality Field is under line of sight rules and conditions. So if the bubble's there in time, you are actually going to deny the ability to see, for that Immortality to get value. And even if it doesn't get destroyed, it doesn't matter. It's too good. Here, though, as we head into University, we are going to see the Brawl composition. Don't brawl in University, guys. It's not a great idea. But we are going to see the May and Reinhardt and Zarya come out. Lucio's on the field as well, so little speedy boy back to yeah.
We're even seeing an edgelord here, as we're going to get the Reinhardt and the Sigma from Samsung Morning Stars. Kukabah picking up the Reaper. We're going to get dueling Ice Queens as both teams bring the May.
So here's the difference in this composition, right? The Reaper, it does the draw damage that Zarya does, but the Sigma is able to play a little bit more range here. So, oh boy, Zarya not in time to get the bubble off onto Hades.
Oh, but Riku goes down. The DPS from SMC trying to bring this thing back. Kukubo does take out a 10, and Coomer does eventually drop. Samsung Morning Stars winning that fight, but just narrowly and still losing players as Bijou is not giving this up. Bijou, you can't 1v4 this thing, my friend.
Comes through there. He's gonna get out. He's gonna have Blade too in this next fight.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to get Blade, although into this, there's not much you can kill in a dash slash combo here. Reaper May.
Lucio on the other side. Coming up on that sound barrier. Coalescence coming out as we speak. Blade goes into the back. That's going to prompt the sound barrier. Bijou finds himself on the bottom level, wandering around with nobody down there with a Blade. Does eventually return to the fight. Takes on Advar. We're going to get the sound barrier from the other side. Golden Blizzards. Everybody's popsicles on the point. Tank Lion falls to some shots from our favorite musician. And after the brawly dust settles, well, it's Sob coming through with the kills. Bijou cleaning things up.
Bijou, actually, that blade is as perfect as you can get in this competition, in my opinion. The only thing that would have been better is if he had gotten a kill on someone before the beat landed. But he got the beat, he got the shatter, like he kited the shatter out as well, and stayed alive, right? All through that. That blade was perfect. And I mean, now all you have to do is deny this Reaper's teleport in the backline, and with your Graviton Surge, that should be an easy thing to do. A10, keep an eye out on him.
Graviton Surge coming out. The die right over the top, and that's gonna find 3. Reaper's Death Blossom eliminates half the team. Money Crew still trying to brawl this thing out a little bit, but the reset's already come through.
This is still winnable though. This is gonna be an easy retake. There's a shatter out.
Shatter gonna take down Fake Lion, and the Reinhardt goes down. Adnar directly behind, rejoining the big German contender back in spawn. Yeah, Riku just trying to buy a little bit of time there. About maybe 1%.
Massive gigantic hitter comes around the corner at full speed with the rocket fight, just lays down the law. Shatter comes in for the retake there, and I mean now, you've got the Blizzard, you're walking the Blizzard. If this does not get scouted out, SMC can easily continue this in the next fight.
Yeah, Riku needs a big eat here. That's a tall ass. He's just waiting.
They scout, they find it. They find Fees.
They find. Nice. Yeah, good heads up. Give some Morning Stars experience. They're going to check their corners. They're going to let you get the cheeky one off. But Blizzard does eventually come out. Samsung Morning Stars, for the most part, able to back out. He's looking for the big Rhine popsicle there. Shikuli goes down. Blizzard didn't get everybody, but it got just enough for Shoes Money Crew to win that fight. And now we're approaching 1-fight territory. Samsung Morning Stars, one last chance to keep themselves in this series.
And one last chance to keep themselves in the series includes having to deny a Graviton. Really, deny both tank ultimates as well as the sound barrier, which is going to be a key difference. Shikari is going to have a much harder time getting the Blizzard on the ground because he has to walk into the team, and the Graviton Surge is going to come out beforehand.
4 lessons used to try to get Samsung into this, but Graviton Surge does indeed come out immediately. He's just going to go ahead and pull the blade. You're invested from Shoes Money Crew as well. Overtime Wick starting to burn, and Fake Lion's going to win the battle of the German Crusaders. Bubbled up an ice block may just try and stall, perhaps by a little aggro, but there's nobody else there to really follow up. A10 cannot burn through all the remaining members of Samsung Money Crew to play.
Amplification Matrix was committed from Saber. They actually can make this fight? There's no way.
No way.
Okay.
It's a kill.
I mean, that's still, you're in last fight. That Amplification Matrix is going to be needed for that re-entry. And I mean, watch the Reaper set up here, because with the Death Blossom going to be available in 6%. That's the first ultimate that's going to be available in this next engagement. And, oh, this is bad for SMC.
Yeah, this is real bad. Nice. The wall separates Hades from the rest of the pack. Death Blossom did come out. Finds 2 before A10 can finally burn him down. The Coalescence is there to help finish off the rest. And there is just no room for Shoes Money Crew to work. We're going to tie up. Be tied up. Headed to our 3rd round. This one's going down to the wire.
Yes, it is. And even in that last fight, it was actually Fees with the stun. He gets stunned. He gets frozen by his counterpart. And the Blizzard gets denied. So even then, another win condition being removed from the table. And SMS looking incredibly, incredibly resilient in that last point as they bring it back. I honestly thought that they wouldn't be able to really return to that fight with the execution that was required to take that point. But SMC, a little bit of spaghetti on the ground, and SMS is more than willing to take up the slack.
Resiliency was the perfect word for that. Couldn't agree more. Both teams sticking with these very sustainable brawly compositions. Teleporter out of the gate, and then just a quick swap back over to the Genji for Bijou.
This is going to be really tough for Fees, actually, because with the double shield here, you can't pressure out with the May. You don't have a lot of real utility to get in and freeze people. Good anti-nade, though, will buy space on the point.
Kind of a defensive wall there. Try to allow Samsung to stabilize. Kukabon goes down. Hades caught in a bit of a weird spot as he looks around, but the rest of the team there to find the kills. Bijou, in particular, lighting up that feed.
Getting the teleport to point, that's so key. You're able to get early positioning, and that double shield, the Orisa Reinhardt, is dependent on getting positioning first. Without it, they just aren't able to really execute. And of course, the anti-nade from Sab was spectacular, so it buys even more time to set up there for SMC. Now they're gonna head it to the second fight, and this is gonna be a pretty empty fight in terms of resource management, because the only thing that's really available early is gonna be Coalescence.
Wiki making the swap over to the Sigma. Immediately he gets frozen up. Coalescence coming out early from SMS. Hades once again just down in the thick of it and sustaining so well. 18 does such a good job with the bubbles. The heals right on point. Hades can take all the aggro in the world, give his team the time he needs to find those kills.
I like the nano boost there on the Reinhardt. It's easy to fall into the trap of, okay, we'll win the next fight with Nano Blade, right? But instead, going for the commit, going for the sustain, keeping Hades alive is a big deal there. And I mean, one ult for a fight win that's going to give you 5 now. You're looking in pretty good condition here for SMC.
Very good condition indeed. We got Blizzard and Blade both ready to go. A lot of juicy targets await underneath as the Blizzard comes out. V2 immediately caught. Now the Graviton Surge thrown in, and that catches the rest. Biju's just gonna dash, reset to his heart's content. Doesn't even have to use that ultimate.
The Graviton Surge there does help them close up the fight with punctuation mark. Heading into this next engagement, though, like, this is going to be, I mean, the only real win condition here for SMS is to get into high ground, to get the beat, to get the Blizzard, my mistake, off. But you're walking into a choke. This is going to be tough for the May.
Blizzard thrown out from Chicory just to, I think, deny the drop down. He doesn't really seem to buy much. Just throwing him out, and then A10 with a beautiful right click takes him out. Buju's gonna go ahead and drop the blade down barrier to bolster the health pool. Goes and slices in, guys. And the mortality field nicely placed there from Akaya, but not enough in the end. The ninja's too much. Kukuma trying to bring it back. Finds 2 kills with the death blossom, and Biju is super low. Wiki does eventually pick up that kill, but Hades returns the favor on the Cuckoo Bomb. Hades will eventually drop Samsung when he starts. Do get the flip, but I think SMC's in a good position to come back with this reset.
There's just a full-on double shield now from Fake Lion. This is gonna go over to Orisa. They're playing with fire here. The Doomfist not as effective in this current patch as he was perhaps in some previous ones. He doesn't have nearly the potential that he used to, and especially with the shield and the freeze. Things are looking tough here. They need to be able to sustain through this fight, because if this Shatter lays down, they're out of this series.
I think baiting to go for the high ground. Option just dropped down low. Haskell's like through the body, goes through on the Shatter, finds 2 with it. At least pick up one of those kills. Chicory able to get back on his feet. He's gonna have to deal with this Doomfist. With B's gone, that's gonna prove increasingly difficult. Biju, he's up to the task. Takes the Doomfist out, but Akaya responds. Bad B's picking up 2 priority kills. Biju pulls out the blade to equalize. Finds 2, and now the Rabbinic Flux invested from Riku to try to force it back into the kill under Sob. We're down to a 2v3 on the objective. Both DBS alive for everybody Cruz. They're trying to push it. Blizzard interrupted. Does not get the Blizzard out before falling to their death. Wrecking Ball coming out from Hades, trying to punish this as the meteor strike in from the Doomfist. Oh, still invested in this fight. 99-99. Top barrier force out. Nano Boost goes down onto A10. Is it enough? Can A10 burn through the pack? Only tank left standing here for SMC. They've got to get the flip, and they've got to hang on to Cabal with the Tracer swap has come back to make presence known immediately. Only 3 players left for Season Crew as Bijou goes diving into the back, looking for the flank angle. Does pull off a little bit of attention, so Cooler is able to take down Kukabal. That's something you don't see every day. Lucio wins that fight. Wrecking Ball returns to the battle, but Bijou drops. Wrecking Ball now focused down. 5 members of Samsung Morningstar surrounded him, nothing he can do. B's in there on the Tracer, desperately trying to make something happen as the Winston comes into the fight. A10 pours onto the Scientist, and still no avail. B's is gonna fall. Down to the wire this match was. In the end, Samsung Morningstars by the skin of their teeth will take the W.
What an absolutely spectacular round there from Samsung Morningstars. Just patience, calm, and collected. They look spectacular in the end. And Wolfsgunk, I have to say, I was extremely worried in that last fight when there was nothing. There really should not have been a recontest available to Samsung Morningstars. They had to Blizzard onto the high ground. Blizzard did not get anything. They gave up the point and even still found the wherewithal to get back in it to that engagement. And I was worried about the Doomfist. I really, really was. And despite not really getting a whole lot of pickoffs, what it did is it created a lot of space, a lot of pressure, a lot of danger on the objective. And it really, we saw that from Kumar's perspective actually at one point where the punch, it didn't kill him, but it got him down to 24 HP. And so you have to commit resources into keeping your Lucio alive. And all of a sudden that's resources that isn't available at the front line. And now you have to start realizing the economies of the fight really aren't in your favor anymore. So credit to Samsung Morningstars. They grind that fight out. And at the very end, in the 11th hour, they pull out the win. And spectacular showing here. SMS take the victory over SMC to give themselves the 2-1 that they needed in their group.
Very exciting fashion indeed. Just want to touch on that retake real quick. The Blizzard, since they couldn't get it onto the high ground, they throw the Blizzard down low and then charge up the stairs. There's nowhere for Shoes to run except directly down the stairwell into the waiting arms of Samsung Morningstars. Beautifully played, knowing they weren't going to get any direct value out of the Blizzard. The way they utilized it showed wonderful adaptation. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's one of the most exciting matches I've seen all week. But we are not done, my friends. We're going to return.
With that, we actually have an interview with support for Samsung Morningstars Adnar here after winning that game versus Shoes Money. Well, congratulations on your victory here today. The 3-2 in thrilling fashion, Adnar. It was a spectacular match to watch. Just give us your quick reaction at the end of that after all the theatrics have gone down.
I think I'm gonna need a recovery to the hospital because my heartbeat still is not slowing. It's still not slowing down. I think I'm gonna have to eat that off. Woo.
Give you a quick moment to breathe here because that was, I mean, as spectacular it was for us, I don't think we could even begin to approach the reaction from you guys. You guys are down in the last fight, realistically with not much beyond a prayer in terms of being able to turn that. What's the call? What's the sort of thought process as you guys take that last fight?
Believe it or not, we were really focused and our comms were really calm. Like, we were talking about the right focus, we were talking about the right rotation, what to use, resources, ultimate, and so on. I think that really paid off at the very last fight, at the very last contest, because they swapped a lot of comms to go for stall picks, and we put up actually a very good stalling. So I was close to beat, we had some ultimates, the focus was also right. Everything went in the perfect direction, and I'm so happy we win this game because I think we trio Anubis, honestly, and we should have won that map as well. And with Blizzard World, it should have been a 3-on-1. SMC is really a very good team, and actually, I think that in order to have an incredible match like this, you need to have two incredible teams, and this is what happened tonight.
Couldn't put it better myself.
There's one thing I want to actually talk about because we did get, you mentioned Blizzard World compositionally, right? We've seen a lot of stuff evolve over the last little bit. We've seen a lot of the double shield for a long time, but we've seen an evolution recently into the Winston, into the Zarya, and at times the Wrecking Ball as well. Walk me through the thought process of the difference between them, especially Temple of Anubis, where we saw the double shield, but we also saw the Winston Zarya come out from your squad.
Well, that composition is one of the our favorite to play in defense in Anubis for first and second point. So it's one of the comp we have practiced the most. Talking about how we tried to react to their dive, most of the time we adapted well. There were some situations in which we couldn't really find the right angle or the right setup, especially on Oasis on the first map on City Center and on first King of Dale, I think it was Busan. Yes, we started well, but then they adapted better to our composition, and we couldn't keep up. But they really put us under a lot of pressure, and I'm very glad that we didn't break up. We didn't have any mental break. We kept playing each map, one map after one map. We getting paid in Junkertown. We understood that in double shield we are better. We were better, at least tonight. And that we needed to keep playing our game, stay focused, and stay calm.
All right, excellent. And
Awesome.
as Adnar so eloquently put it, you needed two great teams to provide such a great match. But congratulations to you, Adnar. You take the victory here in the 3-2. Good luck in your next matches, and super excited to see what you guys are doing forward.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think now we don't have to lower down the focus and the pressure because we have two totally different matches. Tomorrow is against AKA, which plays a lot of double shield, but with a little variation, so we need to be able to adapt. And well, Friday is against Avoided, so that is going to be a really important to keep the mental and keep the focus. But I'm really looking forward to that match.
All right.
We are as
amazing.
well. Yes, sir.
Okay. And
Right.
thanks for covering. Thanks for covering. Good
Thank you
job.
for joining us. GG's. Congrats. once again.
GG's. Thank you.
All right,
All right.
congrats once again to Adnar, support player for Samsung Morningstars, as they take the victory here 3-2 against Shoes Money Crew in a thrilling game. Bolskunk, I could not have really asked for a better match. It went down to the wire on nearly every map, and just a spectacular showing across the board from both squads.
That's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what Trials is all about right there. Just the narrowest of victories. But as I was starting to say a second ago before I got the word in the ear, we are not done here today. We do have another matchup coming at you. We got Avoided taking on AKA in just a few moments. Y'all stick around for that exciting match when we return.
Welcome back, my friends, to our third day of Contenders Trials here in the EMEA region. My name's Bull Skunk alongside LaFont. We just finished up one thrilling matchup at Samsung Morningstars, narrowly edging out over Shoes Money Crew in a 3-2 victory. Now for our second series of the day, we have Avoided taking on keine, ahnung.
We'll have to apologize before the series even starts. We are neither of us German, so this will be a particularly difficult name for us to pronounce. We'll do our best, but in the meantime, just be aware, go kindly on us if you would, please. However, that being said, we are going to get into map number 1 between these two teams. As Avoided, you know them. I mean, their name says you don't love them, but they've been a spectacular addition to Contenders Trials this season, as they nearly always are. These players have a way of just turning everything on its head topsy-turvy, and have done so for a very long time.
Yeah, known for going against the grain, coming out with anti-meta compositions. Mini-Me coming off of the old school Clockwork Vendetta, founding this team, wanting to put together something fun, something anti-traditional. And I'm noticing right out of the gate, Mini-Me, traditionally an Orisa player,
This is some cursed stuff right here. Mini-Me on Mercy. Someone screenshot this and say, has science, you know, that whole has science gone too far thing? I want to see that one. I want to see someone send that to me, because that'd be pretty funny.
I'm right out of the gate. I'm baffled. They haven't even started yet.
I mean, there's definitely been a reason for it. Actually, the more surprising thing is what their opposition is running. No main tank here for AKA. Hog and Zarya.
With a Torbulin and an Echo to put the hurt down. Try to take on Yezin with him on the Tracer. Right out of the gate, Avoided getting the positional advantage, kind of beating AKA to the punch here. They're going to go ahead and move on to the point, pick up first control for free.
Here's the big problem with this squad. First of all, throw any preconceived notions, that's a bug. Throw any preconceived notions about what Overwatch should look like between these two squads, because it does not exist here. As Ken in the background looking for that pick, but no, it's Trust Me taking the kill.
And we can see why Trust Me is on that hog. 2 fantastic hooks to pick out both DPS players who are very adept at individual solo play, very adept at staying alive, but Trust Me has their number here so far. Despite missing 2 DPS, Yes is going to return to the fight, pick up an immediate kill, all the while Avoided picking up percentage. I'm special winning the duel against the counterpart Zarya. And is going to go ahead and throw a Graviton Surge out very early in this fight as we get a clear victor finally from this scrappy initial engagement.
And most unfortunate through all of that is that there was no point percentage accrued for AKA in that fight. Yezin gets picked off twice in the air as the Pharah.
Nevertheless, barrage. Yeah, still trying to get picked off twice. Yezin does have the barrage ready to go. Trapper Kid finished off by.
Okay.
What? I'm taking Yezin out of the sky before he gets rescued. Kid's gonna get the kill onto the 4v1. Trying to hold down the movie theater. Avoid is just scattered all over this map. The ball Zarya combo looking to isolate, well, I should say contain AKA as they try to push out of this back hallway. There's only 3 of them there, but he's going to back up.
Yeah, now you're looking for a hero play, realistically speaking, because you're headed to, I mean, this is the last fight, and people are dropping like flies.
Yeah, Traffic Kid just surrounds Trust Me in mines. Nowhere for him to go. Eddie does once again take Yezin down. Don't expect the Echo to win that duel most of the time. He's going to go ahead and use the duplicate. Chooses the Zarya as that duplicate target, trying to take Unspecial on in a 1v1. That's a difficult endeavor. The Graviton Surge comes out, removes the duplicate from the battlefield. Can return to the fight. What was that stick? Holy cow! Keeps the pulse bomb into the air and magnetizes to War. Pick. That was a nutty opening round, and it goes to show what you are in store for, my friends.
It was an opening round.
Yes, it was.
Hello. The thing to kind of keep in mind here is that basic facets of Overwatch don't really apply when you look at a composition or a setup like this, a matchup like this. And one of the things is, one of the things, the markers that we have for just generally understanding how Overwatch works is sort of the economy of rotation and ultimates. Like, okay, here's teams try and jostle for position, then they start to build up resources, and then go from there. These compositions are basically the anti of that. They're the opposite of that kind of idea. It's all about tempo. Play as fast as you can and out-mechanic the opposing team. And while that's happening, make sure that your composition just isolates one part of what the opposing team is running. The ball here, going in aggressively, is just taking so much aggression, and it's allowing Yezen to come in over the top and just put a ton of work in as Zafara.
And Avoided are so adept at this. Tractor Kid goes in, rolls all the aggro, and Yezen sits in above, but once again, trust me, ready for it. The hook spot on. Yezen falls early. Yet again, as we head into Mecha Base. This time, Avoided not able to get that 30 per point control. In fact, AKA pushing on as they go up in the player advantage.
And I mean, honestly, the difference maker here, trust me, getting the hook onto the Pharah in the air means that the spam, that's a nice flick, but it's not going to be enough to really keep this push going. The point that I'm trying to make there is that getting those hook off of the Pharah means that you don't have any aerial pressure, and all of a sudden, things are getting really difficult for Avoided to get in. There's another hook.
Yezen just seems to be drawn to these hooks. Trust me, Johnny on the spot, taking Tractor Kid down as well, falls into the great hook onto the Mercy there. Oh my goodness, I would love to see the hook percentage for Trust Me right now. The question is why hog on the field suddenly eliminates.
I mean, the other thing too is that was in Avoided spawn, so, AKA doing a great job of sort of buying themselves time.
Rolling down the Deadeye from the back, mines over the top, and lands right into the Deadeye. Trigger pulled. Great flash from Will Kill right out of the headshot at Eddie's. One man advantage for Avoided as they're going to push on to the objective. Got the Sombra and the Ana down low. Enemy and Ken falls. Rally comes out. Mine's on the point from Tractor Kid. Great bubble keep him alive as he had 50 health left. Forced to get the heck out of dodge. Right clicks right onto the turret. Gonna eliminate that annoyance. This is
neither balls are really having a great amount of great enjoyment of their time here as Pack comes in, but Tractor Kid 69 goes down. And, oh, barely. Ken just misses the shot. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Trust was anti. Wasn't able to heal up. Scrux returns to get the kill on the Ken. Res available. Three back in this fight. Junkertown surge out. Didn't quite see where that one ran off to, but I'm not sure Special got what he was looking for. Trust Me is able to full hog down Tractor Kid, take the big source of aggro out of the fight. Should allow for AKA to focus their attention onto the back line of Avoided, but I think you gotta get through I'm Special first, not to mention Ken on this McCree. And he's able to win the backline war against Yezen. There's Molten Core Lava all over the point, denying the high mobility from Avoided as they try to push on. Res denied as Eddie's right there with the Tracer. Takes down both supports. Now turning the attention on the Tractor Kid. Trust Me with another solid hook. Able to eliminate the Hammond and eliminate the hopes of Avoided for winning this round.
That's round number 3 in any moment now is the time. Well, any moment now?
Ken? All right.
You never know. Here's the thing. I mean, there could be just a spectacular play where someone gets like 3 1-clicks in a row and the round keeps going, but not in the cards there. And I think this composition is based around a couple of key factors, and the linchpin is definitely here. Trust me, on the Roadhog, right? If Avoided are able to set up and get that spam into play, Yezen with the Pharah suddenly becomes a lot more deadly. But those hooks have been pretty crucial at keeping AKA sort of in this map. And obviously when you're down in a, I don't care how chaotic your composition is, a 4v6 is very rarely something you're going to win natively, right? You need something to sort of push the edge in your favor, and usually it's because you're in a 6v6, but sometimes if you dump enough ultimates in, you can kind of make it work. But the hooks have just been the difference maker right now.
I think statistically 4v6 wins 5% of the time. 1 in 20. Are you going to be able to edge that out? Ultimates or not. Yezen taking out the nuisance of the turret.
I will not waste this.
And if Yezen can maintain dominance in the sky, if they can avoid the range from Trust Me, which should be far easier as we head into Sanctuary, Avoided should be able to maintain this positional advantage. You have Ken in the backline with the Soldier to be able to control the entrances. Oh, nice sleep dart onto Church. Antied as well. The adaptive shield's not enough to get him out of trouble. Eddie's going in the backline. See if they can handle the Soldier. Try to give AKA the edge back in this fight, but nobody has picked up control just yet. Early positional advantage did not yield capture progress here for Avoided. Ken able to take down 2 members, including the Baptiste. That should snowball into a fight win. But the way these things are going, it is still anybody's game. Eddie double pick up Tractor Kid, but shows falls as well. Pulse Bomb misses its target as the res comes through onto Tractor Kid. I'm Special finally giving the fight win over to Avoided here.
That was some spectacular brawl there, and you're gonna see the reset. Oh, is he gonna get a kill here? Nah, trust me, he's gonna stay alive for now. He's got way too much health pool. But I'm Special, let's get up to that 90 energy mark, which is very important because you actually are now I'm Special is like genuinely a threat in this next fight in terms of the Graviton Surge, because you'll actually be able to clean things up in it rather than just sort of trust his teammates to be the ones to kind of follow up. So Avoided to have some now, I think for the first time since the first round, have some resources to actually be able to punch their ticket to keeping this point in their favor.
Curious where this Nano will go. I think they're going to hold on to it. Maybe perhaps Yezen will wait for it in that barrage. Lands the rockets. Maybe pick up one. Nope, they're going to go ahead and throw the barrage, or excuse me, throw the attack visor in. Molten Core all over the objective from AKA, trying to deny position, but it's Eddie's coming up with the kills. A pair for the Tracer and makes it down, but barrage from behind. Oh, trust me, able to take a breather just in time to survive it. Lyolor with a beautiful whip shot to take the far out of the sky, and Eddie continues to wreak havoc on this Tracer.
Yeah, it's been Eddie's has actually really been a huge difference maker in terms of survivability, but also the aggression in that moment there, as we're gonna see now him crouching around the outside of the map, just looking for that flank, looking for a pulse bomb stick, but no dice.
No, it doesn't look like it. With these scrappy fights, I think it also goes down to your individual pairings, how the two teams are working together. I mean, it's the micro synergies between just a couple of players. They're between the Ball and the Pharah. Between the Zarya and the Soldier 76, the legs there are picking up a kill. Tractor Kid is able to take down Lyolor. We're still pretty close on percentage, but Avoided do get the flip or maintaining control.
Yeah, this it starts taking over in their favor. As I mean, they don't allow the equalization in terms of point percentage to get really back into it. So now we're looking at this next fight and kind of how does that kind of execute forward. And I mean, Tractor Kid is really, for all the skill that he has on Hammett, has not actually been as effective, I think, at being able to disrupt as he would like to be. You can see him rolling in and out, but he's getting zoned out so well by the Brig.
And AKA like to play separated. They're playing these point compositions, so the disruption has little effect. You know, if you just place them a little bit, AKA is not really bothered by it. Yezen going over the top. Barrage coming online shortly. Throwing rockets down onto Scrux, and Tractor Kid able to find the final blow. Barrage comes down as the overtime wave starts to burn. Gets health bars low, but doesn't find any final blows. Can Tractor Kid clean up? Does drop the mines down, finds both supports. Overtime wave will burn. Avoided. We'll take map 1.
And I mean, we go to 3 rounds, but that was just a spectacular. The first and third rounds was just a spectacular show of dominance from Avoided in terms of their ability to keep control of the point, right? They never really let it go away from them, and that's the key marker there that allows them to win that the round. Because especially on first round, they actually lose a fight off the back of 2 hooks from Trust Me, and it doesn't translate into a point capture. So that's the big difference maker there. Obviously, second round was just masterful control from the roaming of Trust Me on the Roadhog, and that really helps zone out the point. But I mean, map number 1 in the books, Avoided. We forgot to mention this at the top. They're the number 1 in this group right now, and to see them play out closely against AKAs is certainly an interesting turn of events.
Right, we're looking at our number 1 seed at the moment versus our number 6 seed. aka absolutely the underdog in this story right now. Avoided have only dropped one map so far this week in trials, and that trend continues as we head to map number 2. On the other side, aka have only won 2 maps over the past 2 days. We'll see if their luck changes as we continue into Junkertown. But Junkertown, we're not going to get to see Yezin on the far right here. There's just not enough room for Yezin to hide. Could be an opportunity for AKA to sneak one in.
Certainly a possibility. I think the one it's tough to call any sort of composition that these teams are going to run, though.
So yeah.
Like there's a sort of educated guess that I can make with nearly every other team, right? Teams that play standard, there's sort of a logic that internal logic to the meta that follows through, and you can make exceptions and sort of rationalize out the thought process that a team or their staff would be able to go through, right? And kind of get their ideas and coalesce that into a thought process. With Avoided, self-professedly, they are a team that runs on their own internal logic, right? It's the compositions that are based around the players' hero pools, but also sort of an element of we think this kind of off-meta or meta-adjacent style is really something we want to work against. With a team like AKA, it's like Avoided to the next level. We don't have a lot of game tape on these players. We don't have a lot of experience. We don't, they're not nearly, especially in the English-speaking side of things, where we kind of, work our most time. We don't really have a lot of information on them, so we can't even draw any conclusions based on that. So when you have a team like Avoided going up against a team like AKA, there's always going to be an element of just complete randomness to what us, the viewer, is going to be sort of expecting. You have to try and identify that internal logic in the composition, right? As you kind of watch through. And so far, that comes down to, when you come down to a wrecking ball composition, it's almost always about disruption and buying space for the rest of your team to put pressure on the opposing team. On AKA's side, they're sort of eschewing that kind of idea, and they're using the Roadhog as the space creator, but also put pressure by taking that isolation, that assassination. Think of it as the flanking Widow, but with health pool that is also able to just sort of sustain them by themselves. And that's what you start to kind of consider from AKA. So that's just map number 1, though. That's just control. Can they evolve on maps 2 and 3? Absolutely. There's no guarantee that what we saw on map number 1 is going to continue into map number 2.
No, certainly not. In fact, there's no guarantee much of anything with these two teams. I mean, as you mentioned, we could speculate all day long, but it is nothing past that. I will say, back to the Hog pick, with Trust Me on the Hog, not only is that character full of self-sustain, very self-sufficient, and that allows your healers to be able to focus on your other tanks, to be able to focus on your DPS, pour more resources into them so that they can get the work done and find the kills.
That is absolutely correct. That's something I think to keep an eye out on as the kind of broadcast or the kind of games go on. And I think the thing that's most interesting to me is that we're seeing like no concept of tanking necessarily here from AK. And I mean, I don't mean that as like a slight or an insult or anything like that. I mean that it's an evolution of idea, right? It's a playstyle that necessarily changes how you approach the thought process of Overwatch. Like, think back to, I think the composition that a lot of people will be familiar with is, if you look at the triple DPS composition that Shanghai Dragons ran last year in Stage 3, it broke the idea of what a composition could be in Overwatch, right? It really was based around that hypermobility, hyper disruption into damage. This is sort of that same idea executed differently.
Yeah, just with different characters on the battlefield. You're absolutely right. It's very well put, my friend. Now we're getting Avoided on the attack. Kin trying to work around the outside, but there's Trust Me with that trusty hook right there. Mini-Me just barely able to escape in time on the Mercy. Avoided not backing out, though, despite losing their Widowmaker. Avoided are going to continue to try to put pressure down, see if they can find an edge in this fight.
There was actually a really good body block. There was a good body block from Tractor Kid 69 there on to prevent Mini-Me from getting hooked. So the Wrecking Ball can sustain through a hook. The Mercy certainly cannot.
Not so much. Pepe goes down early. Mini-Me falls as well. No more healers left. And I realize your damage base here Avoided, but you can't push without your supports.
We're going to see Avoided gets stalled out quite a bit, actually, as a result. And
yeah.
Tractor Kid 69, this is a little bold.
Yeah, we'll go with bold. That's a nice word for it. Yezin's able to take Trust Me out of the whole hog, so a good start with that close respawn. Once they get back to a full 6, opportunity for a power play here for Avoided.
This should be the opportunity now where you start to get the push coming through. Because trust me, he's not a fast-moving character. Hog not really known for his sprinting ability, and that's going to mean that it's a 5v6 for an extended period of time. You need to start getting pickoffs though if you're Avoided.
Ken does just that with a little help from the damage boost. Both support ults ready to go if needed. Both tank ults online for Avoided as well. And they have managed to push the majority of the way, finding stacker kills, and it's just 4 members of AKA left on this point. Molten Core tossed out all over, but it's such a wide space, it doesn't really have much of an effect installing this card.
Oh, and actually they get the point now, and that's going to mean that there's going to be a stall pick here as Edis is going to be taken down. And that's something we didn't actually highlight, is that there was a swap and roll from map number 1. Edis was actually playing DPS on control, and Strux comes in. There's been a couple of switches over for our team here in AKA, as we did not get a chance to highlight that through in the start, so we get that now. But I mean, Yasmin's actually going to play the Echo now, and it's still a tough order because the McCree Torb on the retreat means that you have to play into a lot of hit scan, and counterintuitively, the Echo does not actually have as much escape and survivability as you may think. She's kind of squishy in close.
And she wants to get in close to have maximum effectiveness, and that is going to be very difficult into those 2 DPS for sure. No doubts there. Junkertown Surge out from the defense, going to punish I'm Special on the high ground. Whole Hog comes out. What a dangerous combo that is. Graviton Surge holding him in place so that Whole Hog does so much damage up close. Deadeye does get shut down. Kin trying to invest that late in the fight.
Little quick crouch there. Strux, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the Widow was actually on first point, not second, but perhaps showing Ken the what for as the reset comes in. And Nano Grav available now. Mini-Me on the Zen, okay.
Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, bringing in the Ana Zen. So you're not going to have that damage boost, not going to have that pocket for Yezin on the Echo, who is 82% to that duplicate. I'd be curious to see what target you choose from the available choice from AKA. Trust me, takes down Tractor Kid early, but I'm Special wins the Zarya duel. I'm Special now trying to ascension up top, lands a nice right click, takes Keem out of the fight. Tractor Kid with the mines. I'm Special forcing, trust me, right into him. Beautifully corralled here from Avoided as they are on track to pick up the second point.
That is sort of the Avoided special there, and byproduct of that is AKA, of course, just getting the back and forth, sort of just surround everybody and take a bunch of 1v1s all over the map, and that's kind of how you play that game. And it's certainly not necessarily what I would describe as being refined, but it's effective, and sometimes that's all you need.
And just the unpredictability of it all makes it very hard to counter, makes it very hard to have a plan going into the fight. It forces the defense to be very reactionary. Yes, is going to choose the Hog as the duplicate target, gets an early hook and is able to get the whole Hog online. Can he get in a position to actually pull the trigger on it? He's going to go ahead and just drop down off the top ropes, throw the whole Hog in, but gets immediately hooked out of it. Kin punishes that hook. Oh, but gets slapped with the nano boost during Deadeye. What a high value sleep dart coming out of Keem. But in the end, I'm Special. Still able to find a couple kills. Cart in 6th gear here.
This card has been moving forward pretty effectively. And I mean, Avoid is not going to have the minefield as a last second contest. As, oh, there's a grab. There's a dodge coming in. Yes, it is.
Yeah, mine's right on top of it. Dangerous combo. The Molten Core coming out is going to kill Hoppe. Trying to deny the follow-up, but in the end, 3 members from the defense go down. Squawks fall and be in the 4th. Now it's just a Moira coming out to try to stall this point. Now an honest sleep dart blocked by the barrier. 3 points on the board. 2-2-2 on the clock.
2-2-2. Curse you. I will always be a for the competitive scene anyway, an unlocked queue apologist. But for the competitive server anyway. That being said, we are going to head now to the defense for Avoided after they set a respectable time here on Junkertown. I mean, you know, Junkertown, especially 3rd, very difficult to contest at times, and realistically didn't feel like there was much of a fight being put up. by AKA in the later stages of things, which is just constant snowball. So there is a thought process actually in I was talking to a former coach in Overwatch, and it was kind of we were discussing the concept of like using ults and cooldown as a sort of tempo consistency, like just you just keep the fight going, right? And even though that's not quite what Avoided and AKA are doing, it's a very similar concept where as soon as you get a resource, use it, right? Just to keep winning. It's a win more kind of idea, right? And I think there isn't a whole lot of Overwatch in its historical sense that has kind of allowed that to happen. It's always been based around combos, kind of based on setups and sort of this idea. And I think what Avoided and AK are kind of setting up here is that idea of just a no holds barred, all out aggression Overwatch that has been very entertaining to watch, certainly.
It is extremely entertaining to watch, and a very interesting strategy. As soon as one player is out of cooldowns, out of ultimates, then somebody else picks up the baton, keeps the pressure going, as opposed to the bursty style like you're talking about, like we traditionally see from Overwatch compositions. Tractor Kid falling early here as Avoided goes on the defense.
And
Show's coming out on the Hanzo.
Yeah, Tractor Kid did go down early actually in that fight, so this is going to be buy a lot of time for this card to move. But here he goes again. Oh,
yeah, gets back to that fight. Super fast leapt immediately and antied. Narrowly escaping. He had about 15% health by my eye test. Somehow finds the safe embrace of his healers. Oh, doesn't quite land at that time. It's a flurry of sticky bombs. And he's okay. Oh no! Res comes through, but Lylor punishes enemy. The hook does land the second time around. Second time's a charm, Lafon?
Yeah, I mean, Yazen's KDA is going to be a little upset about that res there. No way to get out, but I mean, I don't. Hold it.
What?
Wait, or you continue going for this?
Hold the phone. What are you doing? Nano boost in the Tractor Kid. He's buying a ton of time on the back of this point. Bubbled up. So many reinforcements for him. He's going to take all 6 members of AKA to take Tractor Kid out of this fight. Olog invested on the back end. Will hook onto a duplicated hog and will force Yezen back to the ground, back to spawn. Eventually, AKA picks up a point.
And I mean, this has been just an absolute run through by AKA against Avoided. The big thing here is the wrecking ball for Tractor Kid 69 is not getting any value because of how much CC he has to kind of withstand, right? The sleep dart, the shield dash, the hook, the halt. It's just everything, right? So the wrecking ball is not getting nearly as much value as I think you would have liked to this early into the map.
Not to mention the turret.
There it is again. Slept, fast,
down, done. Absolutely deleted. Okay, seem to have Tractor Kid 100% downloaded. Grab Dragon's now coming out. That's gonna net them 2 kills before it's all said and done, but I'm not even sure either of those are caught in the grab. I think I'm especially just burning them out in mid. It's still winding around, nearing the doors. Molten Core out from the offense. He doesn't even able to find some picks. Ken now caught in a very precarious position. Ends up winning the duel against the Hog. Defense will stabilize.
Yeah. And we're going to see a switch come over, I think. Yeah, Tracer is going to be the name of the game here for keine here as they take the second point. Or as they look to take the second point, rather. Oh, we're going to get a diva here, too. So,
yeah.
Real switches coming in.
What do you think is the objective of this diva? I mean, is it strictly to counter?
I mean, the diva is really to deny pressure from Yezen and Ken, right? This is really the diva's job is to make their life miserable.
Exactly what he's looking to do here. Mine's still on the high ground, but AKA had already moved down. Didn't really have much of an effect. Nano boost onto Yezen. We'll see if that DM comes into play here. Patiently waiting out the defense matrix. Gets the DMAC. Now free to pull Y if he even needs to. I'm special. Getting into the mix. Gonna drop down, throw the barrage into the back. Find both supports with that. Just further staggering out this assault.
Yep, and that's the hold you kind of needed if you were Avoided, right? And that's one you needed to buy some time and space. And it puts you now in a pretty good position. Just bleeding time off the clock. You're gonna be able to take at least another fight, which puts you in third and start even. And this is assuming that it actually gets that third point gap, right? Hook breaks there through the wall, and now Trust Me has to actually retreat just for the moment.
Yeah, getting chased out by both tanks. Avoided. Nice. Bubble's gonna keep a Tractor Kid in the fight. Ooh. It was a good preemptive. Almost predicted the hook, was just a hair too early. Nevertheless, Trust Me, takes a lot of damage. Beautiful focus fire from Avoided, able to burn him down. But now Tractor Kid, suffering from the same fate, rolls out of harm's way. Oh, stun into Pulse Bomb. Does some damage, but that big health pool not quite whittled through. Tractor Kid once again.
Oh, the great ball.
Out of dodge. Graviton Surge and Dragons this time very successful. Kin picking up 4 with the big Wombo combo. Fight going down to a hook after it's all said and done.
Something more terrifying than the break with the raid bot, like with the nano boost. The raid bot in full effect, so I do not blame the grab at all, but the combo is there to clean it up. And that's gonna be a hold that Tractor. Oh boy, this is. Wait, saved!
Help me! In the nick of time, Tractor Kid had nothing left in the health pool. Comes back and wins the fight with a little help from the honor. We get by with a little help from our friends, LeBron.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Once again here. He has to take it down. Shosuke the back kid picks up the kill onto Ana, and the defense will stabilize with 45 seconds on the clock.
And the D's actually going to switch back to the Zarya this time around, so clearly the D.Va not working out here as he hasn't actually switches over to the Mei too. So in that last fight, now nearly to the Blizzard, which not really a lot of escape abilities here for the offense. So the Blizzard can really be a difference maker here. Oh, what an anti-nade.
Oh, wow. Huge. Oh. I was actually able to finish that off, burn him down. Tractor Kid goes into Eddie's.
Okay, the nano Mei, this is.
Oh, Molten Core finds 2, the nano Mei. Throws Blizzard in the back and throws up one of them. Well, they didn't even get to take off that. What it does do is sow tons of chaos in the back line, all while the part just breaks. Now Tractor Kid cleaning it off. Time will dwindle down. Avoided going up 2-0.
Avoided go up 2-0, and I mean, just what an absolute, to use one of the Canadianisms that I often have to bring out, what an absolute gong show of a map that was.
I haven't heard Gong Show in a while.
To those of you the EMEA broadcast who don't know what that means, it's something that is spectacular, but also a little bit messy. It's just an absolute performance of a map that was. And I mean, credit to Avoid for kind of reacting, because I think after point A, there on Junkertown, there was still a reasonable chance for that to snowball into third, which would have become a problem. But they stabilized pretty aggressively on the high ground and denied a lot of those flanks that Trust Me was trying to go for. And really a big evolution there was having Tractor Kid take the hooks from the Roadhog, right? The Roadhog, if he's not getting those pickoffs, is something a lot less effective. And one thing that Tractor Kid has been doing a really good job of is being going down to that sub 100 HP mark and getting out alive off the back of some fantastic healing, of course, from his supports. But there's still an element of needing to know the mechanics of the character enough to be able to get in and out without realistic trouble.
And you can almost see the face of Trust Me just turning beet red in frustration on that hog. Every time it just almost has that kill, even dropping a whole hog to try to solo out Tractor Kid. But Hambe, every time, right there with the sleep darts, the antis, the heals, the bubbles from I'm Special, right when they needed to be. That was a wonderful adaptation from Avoided, putting the attention where it needed to go, and, well, that was right on the Trust Me.
Absolutely. And we're actually going to switch around again. Josh and D's are going to switch roles again. So it's going to be damage for D's and tank for Josh in this particular one. We are headed to Temple of Anubis as a third map. Assault in the pool, obviously. And I mean, Avoided are fighting now for their perfect run through Contenders Trials to this point. Remember, this is the team to kind of beat in this group, right? They are currently undefeated, as they haven't dropped series. They also only have dropped one map so far, so They are 6-1, +5 in map differential. Obviously, after today, it will have changed a little bit, as I think they would be +7 now with the 2 map wins they've had so far. And the only map that they dropped was to the Ultimates, another team that's in this group, who is also 1-1, but that should change, I think, after today. Weirdly, it was Junkertown that they dropped to Ultimates. So just going over my notes and looking at that quickly.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm not 100% confident. That absolutely sounds right. I'd have to double check the VOD to be sure.
But no, it's interesting to see sort of the tools that is kind of worked around here by by Avoided as they get set for this stuff in Anubis match, and they are going to attack now. And I mean, this has been sort of a composition that we're. I think we're gonna look to the defense and say we've all seen these. We've all seen this composition. How are they going to execute on it? Is the real question.
Hello there.
Yeah, where do you set up? Who do you focus down? And how do you respond from the incoming Reinhardt Zarya? Which are most definitely got to push through the small room, push through Mega. Huge anti to start things off. Gets some immediate 15% ult charge to kill.
Respectable. The wall going to deny any hooks, though.
Oh, and making a liar out of me. Avoided speed boost right onto the objective.
Tracker Kid gets antied though. Oh my.
Oh yeah, it just eliminated the fight, trust me. Now the Reaper is trying to teleport out, trying to go up into the back line as Avoided looks to surround AKA. They do find one thing, but they're going to lose Ken along the way. Large portion of their damage gone that they're hoping to put down onto Trust Me Roadhog. You do still have both tanks left alive here for Avoided, but they're all just kind of caught in this small room, hoping reinforcements show up in time.
For your troubles, for all that, you get 1/3 of point A. And then back to spawn two. No, not at all. Oh, Ken is in no man's land all by himself. Yeah, that's. You're gonna do what for? No, they're gonna go on their merry way.
That poor kid got slept, hooked, and then headshotted by the tracer.
Yeah, so. Wait,
coming back in.
Trying to back out, but nothing doing there.
No,
nothing doing at all as he gets sent back to spawn after the reset there.
Blizzard and Coalescence online here for Avoided. They're looking to push in. We'll see how those work out. Yes, it does manage to get the Blizzard off before going down. Trust me, frozen up. Ditch the nano boost to help stay alive. Rowley invested in this fight as well from AKA. And well done by your support. No deaths there from the defense. Tracker Kid just getting solo ulted in the corner.
Oh no. Oh, Minimi gets that.
Fortunately for Minimi, he had that fade ready to go.
Trust me, it's not having a good time here.
No, not at all. So now we're gonna back out of there. Coming out from the defense. Kid's Death Blossom interrupted by a hook. So, Avoided looking to toss in that Graviton Surge. See if they can find anything with that. They can pick up one, push on the objectives, try and start getting a little progress going. Trust me, super low. Take a believe it's pretty much negated by the hard charge of our specialist Zarya. We'll eventually push up and burn him down. With that hog gone, the linchpin of this defense missing, the rest are going to fall like dominoes.
It's kind of impressed me throughout all this is I'm Special's use of the mortars, the long distance mortars specifically. He's actually gotten a ton of value out of them. I mean, I can recall the taking down the Torbjorn turret at range with the mortars, so it's been pretty spectacular. But they're gonna just go directly for point B. Minimi down early though.
Not wasting any time. Mines invested from the attackers, trying to chase the newly swapped Junkrat back over to the point. I'm Special is going to get the nice hook. That's the kill. Excuse me, Trust Me got the kill onto I'm Special. He's just going to drop whole hog. Kind of zone out the objective as Tracker Kid takes a little nap near AKA spawn. Hamster was sleepy, Levon. The hamster was feeling a little sleepy.
I mean, for a little deep cut, much like a kid near a tractor, he gets rolled over. So.
Tractor Kid looking downright narcoleptic here on the Hammond so far in this series.
To be fair, not a huge dose required of sleeping pills to get the hamster to fall asleep. So.
Making the swap onto the Reinhardt. Avoided speeds back on the objective. Slow down the Blues. He's trying to set it up and pick up one tick for free. Tire coming in over the top. Graviton surge from the attacking team. It's going to find Mini-Me. Primary source of healing gone. In fact, all sources of healing now missing. The sound barrier goes back to spawn with Hampe. And the rest of Avoided shortly join.
They're going to take a one tick out of that. So for all that sound and fury, it nets them a grand total of 33% of sustained progress. And I mean, now the Junkrat's on the table, so things are just gonna get a little bit more difficult here for Mini-Me. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult to get that healing through on all the spam that's gonna be available now. And if anything, this composition just screams damage and just like hits you at like a truck.
Sound barrier used. Charge coming out. Tractor can try to hit him like a truck, but just whips it entirely. And there's that spam damage you're talking about, my friend. 2 kills immediately light up for Scrux, starting to snowball to the defense.
It's starting to look a little bit dire for Avoided, all things spectacularly. Wow, look at that tech that, as we all know, Choi Hogan invented.
Yes, showed us a little Choi tech. I like it.
That the rocket jump invented by Choi.
No, it's not. My friend, no, Choi did it.
Exactly. We are going to see a switch coming over from Yezen is going to go over to the Pharah. His comfort pick. Oh,
Full bomb, just beating for the TC, not even the bubble. Enough to keep him alive, to get him out of harm's way. Yezen and Kimbo super low. Scrux and Lylor there to finish him off. Mini-Me, you'll be lucky to be out with your life there, bud. Nope, didn't see that one happening. Buck 20 on the clock.
The vibe that I get from these compositions is, despite there only being 4 DPS on the field, it feels like there's a lot more. You know what I mean?
It certainly does. Your initial analogy was so spot on, where they're playing like they're running a triple DPS composition. That was absolutely spot on, and we continue to see it.
Oh, good body block there, actually.
Yeah.
Is it enough? Oh.
What? Oh, that's higher. But single-handedly eliminates the pharmacy duo. Eddie's picking up Hanbei and back to spawn. Goes Avoided with one last shot at this thing.
Wait, this is the attacker spawn. Eddie's looking for perhaps a pick off.
Eddie's taking a tour of Anubis here on the Tracer.
No one knows he's
30 seconds.
There's that juicy target. Sleep dart missed. Not much left. Let's see if the peel is there. Yezen knows he's back there. Hanbei just continues trying to push forward as quick as Grandma can. Catch up with the rest of the team. Oh! Res available. Will it get punished? No. Valkyrie used for Mini-Me to escape. But from the front line, here comes the Gravitic Flux. Now the Anubis comes down on the chin. He's made the swap over to the bit, and he is going to pull out the blade. Still Nano Dub going into the back line. Able to pick up Lylor with the ultimate. Is that going to be enough to finish it off the rock? That's a big pick up. Make it back into the fight. And now Avoided looking a little bit stronger, but they got to deal with this recontest. The overtime wick is already burning down. Still 50% way to go as far as capture progress is concerned. Drexkid takes Trustme out of the fight. He's able to push Scrox into the mine. Drexkid looking to push the team on his back, but they're not done. There's a Bastion on the outside. LOS completely over the objective. Well, that'll do it. Well, that's it. There's a swap from Trust Me, but he's not even going to make it back onto the objective. Finally, that second point picked up.
Kind of getting the first 2 picks in that fight, actually. They lose the fight. So that's kind of that spectacular. That's sort of that ethos of that triple DPS that I was kind of alluding to, right? Just that sheer chaotic brutality of just keeping the fight going. And I mean, credit to there was a couple players that stood out to me there for Avoided. One was Ken on the Genji, staying alive long enough to get the blade, but that would not have happened without the nano boost. So with the Ana getting resurrected, I mean, it's a bit of a chain event, right? The Ana gets stuck, gets resurrected, the nano boost goes in Genji, and despite I'm Special getting taken out by the Gravitic Flux, it's just enough time, buys just enough time to get the Dragon Blade online, and obviously as time goes on, the minefield and so on and so forth. So realistically, it's an excellent stall in a not very obvious way from Avoided that allows them to hold the fight going and get the point capture as they get the 2 points there. Now, it is in overtime that it happened, so it was not ideal, but they at least get the 2 points captured. So long as they deny any sort of time to AKA, then they are at, I mean, they're at match point. The series is on the line here.
But they do have to fully deny. If
Attackers in
AKA can finish above the minute mark, they'll get the free attack. AKA coming out with
Doesn't
the
this
signal.
early?
Both teams
this
going
is-
up. All right, here's gonna dive in. Aim on Kim's dome. That's a good pick. The Brig down very low. Yezin with the final blow on that. Now looking to finish off Scrux. Does it with a nice direct here with the Flora. Yezin back to his comfort pick. And I don't see anything on the battlefield besides Trust Me, he's hooked to stop him.
I could use some assistance.
And I mean, oh, Mamie's very low, but he's gonna stay alive for now. The one thing I guess it's gonna be up to like Kiem on the Ana to perhaps even get a second line of attack. Scrux is going over the fire himself, but won't have a mercy pocket, so this is a little bit more dangerous. It's gonna be a 2v1 essentially in the air, and I mean that's tough. That's tough for a fire. You have to hit double directs back to back, and not if you miss, you don't get healed. So.
But we're seeing there, Scrux able to control that top platform a bit, not allow Tractor Kid to sit up exactly where he wants.
I'm on the
So
object.
hopefully take away one of the tools here from Avoided's defense, force them to back up onto the objective, which is what we see now. Eddie's trying to do the same thing, but Eddie eats a mine right to the face. He isn't picking off Kiem. Now, it's Scrux trying to take the dogfight, but Yezin is a very practiced Pharah. This is going to be a difficult fight for you to win, certainly considering Mini-Me there to pocket him. So Trust Me shows up. Yezin flying too close to the sun, or too close to the hog, should I say. He does eventually fall. Man advantage here for AKA as they look to push on the objective. Tractor Kid going to throw some mines down. Try to deny that point. Just a little bit of a zoning ultimate. Slowly but surely, though, AKA finding the kills.
Yeah, this is still looking pretty good, actually, for AKA, despite the trades. I mean, now we're starting to think maybe there's a contest available with the kill on Liler. Yeah, this certainly is holdable now for Avoided.
Oh, that rock, man! If that rock had hit, I mean, that was a Brett Favre downtown Hail Mary of a rock. Eddie's is striking back though. Slides too. Tank's getting into the mix. Red, but a very healthy time bank here with a point on the board for AKA.
I mean, this is one of the few times where it doesn't matter. We talk about ult economy. It's one of those things here where they have 6 of them. They're going to be able to just brute force their way in. And yes, we talked about how this is a chaotic style. Sometimes brute force just wins out.
Absolutely. Especially when you hit some 6 ultimates. Oh, and beautiful hooks. Denying the follow-up on the Graviton Surge. We've already had 2 ultimates invested and only 1 kill to show for it. Kid can find 1 higher. And they're forced to trade. Will favor the defense. They can get right back onto this objective. The reinforcements of the attackers are dwindling down. I believe a reset might be in order here for the defense, despite a good hook kill from Trust Me.
And they're going to get the resurrect here. It's going to be a reset now. It should be anyway from AKA. Yeah, no exit frag there for you as the defense matrix provides special spin.
Mirage over the top just to seal the deal in this drawn-out fight.
Is Yen possibly switching here? Or is he just going to keep the fire going? I mean, fire is not the worst idea, especially against the Junkrat, right? Junkrat's not really known for its aerial superiority.
I'd say even against the Tracer as well. I mean, you're relying on Trust Me and Kiem to put her onto the Pharah. No, Trust Me has done a very good job of punishing Yezin, but Yezin is a smart enough player. Should be able to avoid the LOS here. There's a lot of those little high platforms for the Pharah to work with and regenerate those boosters and keep himself high in the sky out of harm's way. Kin tried first blood in this engagement. Eddie's was trying to put her onto the Pharah. Oh, then tried to turn the attention onto the Ana. Poor move. His Kin is there to help clean up, protect the backline. Yezin destroying AKA's backline.
Yeah. Even that, the hook from Trust Me going to be denied. Oh, are they staggering? Yes, they are. Wait, they got a kill. Oh, came from long distance actually with the Ana. Hits, I think, back-to-back shots to get that KO out. Oh, this is a bit of a disaster actually for the offense.
Yeah, Tractor Kid is literally in front of AKA Spawnor. Threw mines down. Yezin's back there as well. They want an extra fight. They want to put a lot of pressure on early and not give AKA an inch. Make them fight tooth and nail for every single step they take.
Yeah. Now, is there going to be a spawn door barrage? Might be.
I think he's looking for it. Big Struck.
He's not going to get it though.
Oh, nope. I believe that was a sleep dart that initiated that, if I saw that correctly. Could be wrong. Eddie's does the final blow, I know for sure, but tosses a pulse bomb right into I'm Special. Kid gonna throw the tire down as AKA make their way towards the objective.
Good flick actually by the break there to deny that kill.
Very good flick with the shield. Barrage still online, drops down, finds two before getting immediately taken out, but the 2 kills plenty. Put a halt to the Salt.
Mini B going for a bold res there, immediately denied. It's not going to matter in the grand scheme of this fight, but it is still spectacularly funny to watch the Mercy just get rolled by an accretion in tight.
The rock, like bigger, you know, twice the size of the Mercy itself, smashed in the face by a boulder. I love the duo between Kin and Special here.
Yeah, the question is, if anything, accretion doesn't do nearly enough damage with how big it is.
It's so true. It's so true. But as I was saying, yeah, Kid and I'm Special just kind of following each other around between the Junkrat and the Diva. And doing a great job in these little micro synergies that we see with it. Now Special trying to put the hurt down on the Tracer. Tracer is just slightly elusive. You know, a little bit of mobility to that character. He is able to kill Tractor Kid on the Reinhardt. Start as Sigma drops the Flux over the objective. Eddie lands the stick on the Humpy in the back line. Tyre's gonna find Minimi, the other support gone. Self-destruct thrown in from I'm Special to try at least slow the assault a little bit. And slow they have. At best, we're going to 1 minute on the board for each team. But that is assuming AKA can make something happen here, and I'm Special taking out Lyalor is diminishing that possibility. Hook down on his Tractor Kid, trying to eliminate the biggest stall potential from this fight. Eddie's working the other side, taking the healers out, eliminating the sustain. Amplification Matrix down from the attacking team. And Eddie's continues to impress and light up this kill feed for eventually falling to a mine from Kin.
That's gonna be the capture there, as the tire was perhaps their only chance at getting a hold. It's not gonna be, so we're gonna go to extra innings, so to speak, as each team ticks back up to a minute. Oh please, I'm Special. My stomach. Ugh. Again, after that frankly disturbing display of nodding there. But we go again. We go again.
Go again.
Avoided and AKA. You know, not having quite had enough of Temple of Anubis, decided, well, let's get a little bit more.
Let's go for another.
Yeah.
And AKA buying themselves a lifeline.
Certainly.
They're certainly happy about it. I think
keep in mind, the other thing we haven't really highlighted here is that this is Avoided's match point. Correct. We touched on it earlier, right? We said at the start of Temple, this is Avoided's match point. They are 2-0 right now in the series. So a win here gives them the win outright and sort of, I think, nearly cements himself in first place in Contenders Trials Group B. I think they may need to, there is a possibility with them tying for one other team, so it's not quite there, but it certainly puts them in a very healthy position, right, in Group B. That being said, a draw here just means we go to an extra map. AK obviously want the win because they don't want the series to end right now. The problem with Contenders Trials is if you go 1-2 in your first 3 games, you start to think about, okay, maybe we're not actually making Contenders proper because the chance of getting to that top spot is limited at that point.
Absolutely, and it's pretty indicative at that point. There's two teams in the group better than you. But here we go. Extra innings, Avoided on the attack. A take on point A would be a huge step towards solidifying the 2-3-0 sweep. Yes, trying to push in on the far, Kin back on the Genji. And already making a lot of positional progress as Kin goes down early. Doesn't seem to have free reign of the sky so far. On a little close range duel. With Eddie's on the side, Kiam takes down Mini-Me. Kiam has been spectacular on this Ana. The accuracy incredibly high from this Ana player. Dusty takes down Hampe, and Kiam showing off that awesome accuracy once again. Takes Yezin out of the sky.
It's going to be a tough order now, just even get a contest on the point, never mind an actual fight. It's just Ken here in close. Nope.
Don't even get the touch.
Don't even get the touch.
Now AKA in a prime spot to take only be one of the teams to take a map off of Avoided.
Switching sides.
And I mean, we are guaranteed a map, another map. We are guaranteed another map at this point. The question is, how do we get there, right? Is it going to be there as a draw? Is it going to be 2-1 still to,
Right.
2-0 to avoid it still as we head into the next map, or will it be a 2-1 into it? So that's sort of the condition we're kind of playing for at this point. And the next map is hybrid, so certainly a draw possible there as well.
Ready for battle.
Can AKA get rid of that goose egg? Can they take a map off of Avoided, which has only happened once so far here in Trials? And considering AKA our last place team going up against our first place team, I mean, that would certainly be a feat to hold their hat on, or hang their hat on. Looks like we're going to get the ball Zarya defense. Not a whole lot of change. Ken going over to the Junkrat.
It's not a surprise. This is how they opened up the first time around. Ken was on the Junkrat, obviously, through a large part of the defense, and it was mostly effective. Bought a lot of time, that's for sure. But the question is, can you really deny the entry? Because that's the Tracer here has been, I think, a critical part of this, being able to just cause so much harassment.
Welcome back, my friends. Apologies for the interruptions, but have no fear. We're here with map number 4, headed to Blizzard World, headed to sunny California. See if Avoided can close this thing out, or if AKA can start their reverse sweep, keep that momentum going.
Route 66, the Route 66 seems to have been selected, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. We'll wait and we'll wait to see if that is actually the case when we get in, but we'll keep you up to date, dear viewer. A quick recap of what happened to us in the last. Oh, actually, no, that would have been this would have been map number. I'm not sure what our score is actually right now. We have to get a double check on that if we could remind us. Okay, so it is still 2-1 in the downtime that happened between our technical difficulties and this one. Maps 1 and 2 went to Avoided, aka map number 3 of Temple of Anubis. So we are in map number 4. Match point still for Avoided here, Bullskunk, but not the end of the road, certainly for AKA, as they look to play a little bit of spoiler here and take us to ideally a map 5 evened up.
Most definitely. Trust me, on the hog all day long has been the bane of Yezin's existence. Yezin trying to stick with that comfort pick on the far right, even as we head into map 4, showing us that on the assault, even though they do have 25 seconds roughly to change their mind on that. On the defense, well, not a whole lot of change here. Eddie's back on the Tracer, which has served him so well all day long. We're going to get the Sigma Hog combo out of the tank line.
They have been very consistent with what they're running, right? This is not...
No. This is, yeah,
the one difference has been perhaps the Sigma would often become a Zarya, or at times, depending on how the map kind of played out. But otherwise, not really anything shocking here. What is shocking is we do have T-Sork back into the play as a support. So Minimi no longer on the Mercy.
Yeah, traditionally the Risa specialist. They've been playing Mercy for us all day long. Now the listed support player back in the lineup. Structure Lylor, though, starting things off. Fine first 2 kills here for the defense. This card's not going to make it very far here for Avoided's first engagement.
Avoided has been stymied for the moment, as they're going to go back to spawn and kind of reset tactically. But the hook this time whiffs, so there's going to be an opening now for Tracker Kid to actually get in the back line. And as long as he can avoid this Junkrat trap, things should be a little bit more easily done for him, as he doesn't have to deal with nearly as many stuns this time around.
Oh, what a save from Ken. Trust me, I've gotten the hook onto Yezin. Ken finishes him off with some nice shurikens right between the eyes. Yezin does eventually fall, but Tracker Kid able to get the kill on to the Sigma. Uh-oh, Ken's the one who found the trap. Well, Tractor Kid, Ken cleared it out of the way for you. Get in there and collate up. Ant Matrix down. 2 tanks from Avoided are able to push in, devalue that Ant Matrix. What a stick! Eddie's picks off Yezin. Isn't smart enough to fly out of there, not allow any teammates to get hurt by that, but the damage had been done already.
Yeah, that's actually going to be the hold, despite what looked like a very good point. And going to commit the Valkyrie. I'm not sure this fight's winnable, but they're going for what a bold res, and it works.
But what does that really buy them? Well, they're going to nano boost the Genji. That's what it bought them. Genji blade out. Ken in the back line looking for something, but just kind of got caught in between the front line and the back. No kills on the back of that blade, but did manage to run the supports way back. That means they're not quite there in time to save the front line from the incoming Graviton Surge. Barrage thrown in at the blast, just for a bit of an exclamation point here on point A.
Ends up being a little bit more of an ellipses, though, as the Tracer's still contesting for a bit.
That was funny. I like that. I like that.
Head into stage number 2 of Route 66 here. And the only thing really available now is the minefield. Not nearly as effective here on this escort map. That was a nice right click.
That absolutely was. No hook necessary on that one. Trust me, just had Yezin's number all day long. And look at the flank coming through from Trust Me. Goes in, hook in, Tractor Kid. Oh, but gets swept out of the whole hog. Did some work, but that could have been so much worse there or Avoided. Yep, apologize. A little technical difficulty there. I've lost my feed, I'm afraid. There we go.
So I will tell you exactly what happened. The teams realized that the teams realized that we were all on stream, and so therefore the map, it was actually not supposed to be Route 66 at all, but in fact, Blizzard World. So it's an easy mistake to make when you really think about it. So Blizzard World, Route 66, they sound very similar, they look very similar. I'm not poking fun at Mini-Me at all.
Oh.
Mini-Me, if you're watching this,
Sarcasm. There's no sarcasm between us right now. None.
But we are going to head and pretend that whole map didn't happen, because for all intents and purposes, they were just staying warm while we were addressing technical difficulties.
Took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly right. You know, just wanted to keep the fingers moving, keep the wrists warm. No changes out of side swap. You're going to get AKA on the defense, showing us the same composition, bringing that Sigma this time around as well. Now, does Avoided come out with the same thing, even with a very different geometry and approach here on Blizzard World compared to Route 66. You're not battling for near as much high ground. It can play a little bit of a factor. You know, you can go up onto Griffin, utilize that a bit. But all in all, Blizzard World, a very different approach.
Stylistically, perhaps. Compositionally, not so much, as we're going to see the Junkrat in play yet again for Sprite. I mean, Yezen should theoretically have the advantage here. The Junkrat's very difficult to get value against the airborne projectile. This time, trust me, he's going to miss the hook. So Yezen should have some free reign here.
Yep. Yezen dodging a big old hook-shaped bullet on that one, because that was very close. You could hear it whiff by the ears. As it stands, Yezen just raining rockets from above, corralling the defense, doing what Farah does best.
Literally 2 HP for Tractor Kid there. Staying alive for just the barest amount of time, but they'll be able to capture point A here.
Just a testament to the support line of Avoided. I couldn't imagine. I mean, playing support, just trying to keep everybody topped off in the chaotic approach. The synergy is so good between these teams. And looks like our feed is just being really stubborn with us right now, my friends. Apologies.
I mean, you know, sometimes things happen, and this time around, it's one I've certainly lost SR to. I will tell you that. Where the game client crashes. We'll get you back up and running in just a moment. Never fear. It's been an interesting day overall, relatively speaking. Let's give us a quick recap though of how we got here, because it's been a series of games. We started off with a 3-2 between Samsung Morningstars and Shoes Money Crew. That was a spectacular event.
Going down to the very final fight. I mean, that one was anybody's game till literally the 99-99. Round 3 of our tiebreaker. It was still anybody's game. I mean, it was like a 75-90 second fight for that final fight even. I mean, it was very exciting. If you missed that fight, definitely go back and watch the VOD on that one. And then we got this incredibly entertaining matchup between Avoided and AKA.
Yeah, and as we're going to head back in here in just a moment, so never fear, we shall return. Not too much action missed out for you, as we'll drop right back into it. Bullskunk, Yezen taking the kill onto the person who's been giving him the most difficulty here so far today.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that was a little bit personal. The solo barrage on to Trust Me. Avoided on match point, and so far just rolling through Blizzard World. Wind has not been taken out of the sails of this objective in the slightest, and continue to rack up kills on the back of point B.
Trust Me actually on the Wrecking Ball to recontest gets taken out by the minefield. So that's always entertaining. And now we're going to head into this third point here with a pretty healthy time bank for our team in green.
Oh yeah, anytime you see more than 5 minutes in that time bank, that's a daunting task for the defense right out of the gate. You're feeling comfortable. You're feeling in your flow if you're Avoided right now, putting the pressure all the way into the back of the cathedral.
I'm going to take a moment to keep the fight going here as I'm Special trying to keep brawling forward here on the flank. Keep an eye out for that map hazard, as Trust Me has been in the corner all day long. Flux out early.
Bolton Core invested as well. See if they can lift him up and throw him back down into the hot lava. Yezen caught in that. Looks like T-Sorcerer's going to fall as well. Hempe back in spot, and there goes the rest of the team to join him. Oh, the poor hamster just looks so sad lying on the ground.
Such a irritating- There's nothing more irritating than a good wrecking ball.
Yes.
So I don't blame Trust Me in the slightest.
Tractor Kid is certainly falls under that category. Trust me, trying to take down Tractor Kid. In fact, in that fantastic skill showing through on the Hammond, he's able to win that duel. Ken falls to the Moira, though. The tickle damage, too much for the Genji player, and he had the blade in his pocket ready to go, not able to use it. Now Eddie's going to go back and try to punish him once again, but misses the stick. The double jump right over the explosion, the Graviton Surge on the front line, coming out from Avoided. Tractor Kid able to drop the mines over that, and Yezin ran in those rockets from above, finding the kills. They lose Hoppy along the way, and a whole hog comes out on the back line, but Tractor Kid and Ken right there to clean things up, keep this cart rolling forward, but now both healers missing for Avoided.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow reset. It just finally goes down to Ken, and it's just been just being a nuisance on the point is what Ken is trying to do at this point.
I don't feel like we've seen a 6v6 through the entirety of Point C. It just seems to be these small little 2v2s, 3v3s, as kills once again, one from both sides. Nice boop! Oh, what a boop! Trust me, sending that back into the depths. Blade comes out, that's gonna find two, looking for the third, gets the third! And Scruggs can't even take one step out of the spawn before there's a katana right in his face. We're just going to get a little bit of stall with Trust Me coming back. The Lucio swap as well, but they just run into a bunch of mines. And that's a healthy time bank here for Avoided with 3 points on the board.
2 minutes 30. Even with the extreme stall that happened on third point, you still have to say that's a healthy time bank here for Avoided. And now AKA has to set their sights on the map completion with time in the bank if they want their series to stay alive. If they want a chance to recontest. But it's back to the attack now with them. They have a tall order ahead of them, a big task indeed. And it all starts with really shutting down, I think, Tractor Kid, who has been doing better as the series has gone on, off the back of both his play, but also the way his supports have played around him in terms of just his general survivability and distraction in the back line.
He was getting focused so hard in the early half of this series. It's definitely a great adaptation, realizing that, hey, AKA is not playing like the majority of teams we play against. They've got that hook right in my face. There's a lot of attention headed Tractor Kid's way. Doing an amazing job of surviving for as long as he can. Once again, just a testament to the skill of this gamer.
I'm looking for that evolution. I'm looking for that evolution as that next step, right? In terms of what AKA can bring to the table, because we've seen them, we saw them when they started off. They seemed to have an answer to what Avoided was kind of trying to run, but then Avoided started playing around it. So now what is AKA's response to that? We saw Temple of Anubis a little bit, what that was, but now I think, keep an eye out for this boop. It's coming through.
There it is. 2 into the water. You called it. And Tractor Kid takes a swim along with both tanks of AKA.
Though is significantly faster than the 2 tanks on the other side, so.
Oh yeah. Despite the respawn being a little closer for a hybrid, the respawn's actually a decent distance for the attackers here. They don't have the advantage like you do on something like King's Row. Tractor Kid continuing to put this pressure on, rolling all the way back into the spawn once again, trying to see if he can take down Kiem in the back. He's got to watch out for those sleep darts. Kiem, an absolute marksman with these sleep darts. Going diving in, gets the bubble. Trying to put some pressure on Trust Me now.
Bit of a slow attacking run here from AKA. Just been more of a bunch of individualized scraps on the point. Oh, Cadiz was not expecting Tractor Kid to be there.
No, certainly not.
But I mean, this is individualized scraps on the point. Not even fights, like just little brawls, if anything else,
Yeah, little mini duels. Now trying to take the 2v1 against Hog. At least push Trust Me off of that high ground. Tractor Kid does have mines online, but not much else of consequence to speak of. Valk coming up shortly.
Been the hook this time, and Yezin has actually started to play a little bit further in the skybox, so things have been a little bit easier for him in that duel.
I think there was a nice conk blast. The concussion knocked Trust Me off of his game, but he comes back with a vengeance, follows up the good hook on the Ken. 2 kills there. Looks like he tried to get the res off. Oh. I don't know if he got hooked out of it. I didn't quite see what happened, but the res did not come through. Now we're going to get a nano boost whole hog on the point, shut down entirely by the barrage with a little help from I'm Special on the Zarya. And despite a good early advantage, only 1 tick of progress gained.
And I mean, the hook actually hits a sign and does not deny the res, so Yezin's able to be brought back. And now, I mean, you're looking at the Nano Blade as perhaps the next fight win here. So for the defense, Avoided trying to just continue their cycle. This is now evolved into a little bit more of an ult economy, weirdly enough. We started off the series with no such thing. And now it has kind of returned to that sort of one truth of Overwatch, that ultimates are one of the most important things this game has.
And not only do they have Nano Blade coming up, but a Graviton Surge as well. But Source for going down early, gonna make life difficult. Both DPS absolutely dumpstered before they even get a chance to pull out ultimates. Eddie's does fall, but I think that's just going to delay the inevitable here for Avoided.
Slept out of the flux too. This is massive.
That's a huge sleep. Never kind of avoided out. I can't make that mistake again. Blade coming out, the nano boost there, but also a wonderful sleep for AKA. Completely shuts down the nano blade. There's the point on the board. Keine, ahnung, getting this car out of the garage.
Yes, sir. They're going to start their progress on the board, and this is going to be now a real question of how well can they take this fight through second, because they again, now you're keep an eye out on that time bank for Avoided. 2 minutes 30 seconds. And it's not necessarily the time to beat. The time to beat at this point, I think you have to, if you want an equalized opportunity at getting a second attack, 130 is about what you need to finish with, right? So I would say, like, you need to, if you're AKA, 130 is what you should realistically be aiming for on third.
The way these fights have been drawn out, I mean, I'd say Avoided only needs to win 2 more fights, and they can hold them. And with a start like that, from Ben taking out Lyle in the back, look like this one's all but in the bag. Very atypical here, but you still don't have sustain without your Moira, without your heals. It's going to take a very quick attack on the other side to bring this thing back, and we're not going to see that assault. We are going to get... Oh! Nice! Pulse bomb shuts down. Trust me, Rez comes through on a Tractor Kid who had just gotten solo ulted by the hog.
Looking for the value there. I mean, Trust Me has been kind of saving that whole hog specifically for a Tractor Kid, and it's not a pleasant place to be in if you're the Wrecking Ball. But
I'm trying to win the mental game, I think, a little bit.
It's the life of a rat, I suppose.
Well, one good solo ult deserves another as Yesin just point blank solo barrages Strux in the back. Little tactical crouch from there to top it off. Graviton Surge in the small room catches 4. Yesin flies in, picks up one of those kills. Make that 2. And Tractor Kid, despite being slowed a little bit, shall not be stopped, at least not yet.
Certainly not.
70 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to look at a realistic time bank that's, can you even get the capture on second here? So Gravitic Flux to get out of spawn, catches Tractor Kid 69. God, what a name.
Easily healed up, back in the fight. Gets the revenge kill on the show.
That was a pretty spectacular right click from Trust Me, actually, to take down Ken.
Trust Me, been outstanding on this hog all day long, no matter the outcome of this match. I'm very impressed with Trust Me's performance on the Roadhog, bringing out what is widely considered the weakest tank in Overwatch currently, and putting up a incredible showing, has given Yesin problems all day long. The Saudi Arabian superstar, typically a big portion of Avoided's killing blow, their punch factor, and Yesin's been pretty neutralized relatively by Trust Me consistently all day. It's forced the rest of Avoided to step up, particularly Kin, Tractor Kid, and Hampe.
One of the things there, the Graviton Surge was committed, but no one's getting kills off of it. And now, I mean, is this going to be a full, is it going to be a cap here?
Oh, not if Yesin has anything to say about it. does get the barrage down. Mine's out on the objective, but yep, there it is. Eddie's able to take out the final two remaining members of the defense. Finally, get the second point on the board.
I mean, they're already guaranteed a worse time bank at this point now, and they're just fighting to get a capture in. Just try to get a capture in, never mind a capture with time. So this should be, unless things go horribly wrong, Avoided playing for at worst a draw on this map, and it's even still not looking like it.
They do lose I'm Special and Ken, but both of which were playing hyper aggressive, just once again forcing AKA to fight for every inch, for every step that they take. Isn't going for the environmental kill with the Conk Blast, doesn't quite get it. Hook used from Trust Me, so a bit of an opportunity here for Yezin to move in. I don't know if he saw that hook, if he's tracking those cooldowns. Just putting a lot of spam damage in from above right now. There comes the nano boost, and Yezin's going to go in deep. Gets the kill onto Lyalor, now looking to put some pressure on Trust Me. Able to use that, take a breather momentarily. There's the hook, as we've seen time and time again all day long.
This has been, I mean, a rough place for Yezin to go in. The Resurrect's going to come on, but oh, the Pulse Bomb gets 2 kills, but not, unfortunately, the one that he used once. He took himself out with it.
And doesn't get the Ana, which you know he was hoping to get both. The Ana still had that invulnerability state from the Resurrection. So one of the healers still in this fight. Tractor Kid going on to the point, trying to stall for as long as we can. We are in overtime already. AKA fighting to stay in this series for every last breath. As kills go back, and Force Sorcerer's going to get the res onto Special. And Avoided starting to surround this objective. Things looking more and more difficult for AKA. Trust Me, going to pull out the hog to try to make some breathing room, but the barrage right there takes down Trust Me, takes down Scrux, and that'll do it. Over to McBurn's down. Avoided complete the series with a 3-1.
And a hotly contested 3-1, all things considered, but Avoided and an AKA making one of the more spectacular series we've seen in general in Contenders Trials. Entertaining from first to last. No, seriously, no limits to the theatrics that stepped forward here. So that's I mean that's game number 2 here for us here today. We still, I believe, have an interview with one of the players from the winning team. So interested to see who it is. But up to that, until we get that through, I would, give me just your quick thoughts on the series, because this has been, it's been something. Is at the very least what you could take away from this.
It has certainly been something. But one of my takeaways is, after 4 years, we have not completely solved Overwatch. We think we know exactly how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to be played, but these two teams show up telling us that we have not reached final form, that there are a lot of strategies that remain unexplored, and not just in, strange compositions or bringing us something fun and different just for the sake of being different, but that there are completely separate strategies that seem to have gone unexplored. I mean, aside from, you brought up the triple DPS look from Shanghai back in season 2, where they won stage 3 on that, and the evolved form of that still remains to be seen. Avoided have tapped into that vein a little bit, but I think what they've really done is show us the potential of what remains and how much is still left to be discovered in this game.
Speaking of discovered, though, we have to find out what the thoughts and feelings are of Avoided's player Ken stepping in just a moment here in the interview. As we'll get that one through. And with that, Ken from Avoided, congratulations on your victory, 3-1 here. Just give us your first reaction, all things considered.
Thank you. I mean, it was fine. Just rolled a bit, like the Anubis map. But overall, it was pretty okay.
We definitely saw some unusual looks coming out from IK and ahnung. Were you expecting them to kind of match the atypical compositions that Avoided likes to run?
Yeah, it was kind of expected, but we knew that we were like way better than them overall. So it wasn't like difficult to deal with.
The
Fair.
question is, a lot of people look at composition in Overwatch, right? They have sort of a set idea of what to expect. Games like these don't have those expectations, right? They're there to kind of be to kind of remove those expectations. What do you look for when you're seeing a game like this? What's the thought process?
I mean, obviously to win the game, like to try my hardest and to try to win. That's my main goal every time.
Sounds good.
Simple enough.
Take us before I let you go. I want to ask you two things. Take us to Temple of Anubis, obviously, which ended up with the victory going to your opponent. But I mean, it was a very close map. It goes to literally the last fight on both fights. After what kind of leads to that map, and then obviously the translation into the last map? How does it go from Temple of Anubis, or rather, how does it go from Junkertown, which was very much in your guys' favor, to Temple of Anubis, and then eventually into Blizzard World?
I mean, let's be honest here. Like, we didn't try our hardest. We were like kind of trolling. Like, we just tried the con, we never did. It was kind of just to have fun. We're not gonna be like, yeah.
That's fair.
Like,
I mean,
it wasn't like a close game at all. If we wanted to like win instantly, we would have.
That's fair. Actually, Avoided is top of the bracket in Group B right now. I think pretty solid up there. You guys don't have much in terms of competition, at least so far. Is there anybody in your group that you're going to be playing up against that you're saying we have to keep an eye out for them?
Not really, honestly. We're pretty confident overall.
Confidence is the key, and Avoided has no shortage of it. I mean, you guys have the numbers to prove it, so there's absolutely no argument from me. Ken, thank you so much for this. This was a fantastic game to watch.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And we'll see you in the next couple games.
Yeah,
Yes,
GG's.
See you, GG's.
Gotta love the unerring confidence coming out from
And hey,
the DPS player there.
if you can back it up, right? If you can back it up with the performance, which Avoided does, then I have absolutely no qualms with coming out there with the swagger, with the absolute confidence. And let's be absolutely clear about this. Avoided and the teams that these players have been playing on before have done so. They are cocky. They are incredibly talented in terms of what they bring to the table. But it's with good reason. It's not just, oh, we're just cocky and we're like, oh, we're going to beat everybody. And then they go in and get 0-3'd every time. No, they come in, and even when they play to the entertainment factor, they're playing with compositions they never play. They're playing with heroes they never play. They're playing roles they don't play. All of these things, they still come out and win. So in my mind, if you're able to do that, if you're able to talk the talk and then walk the walk, then go for it. Absolutely go out there and smash. And that's what Avoided has done here today as they continue their dominance through Group B.
Looking very clean, moving to 3-0, and all but solidifying their spot in Contenders proper. Of course, there's still 2 days left for them to falter, but I don't see any signs of that happening.
Certainly not. I know there's a couple of teams that want to bring them down a knock or two, but that will be for a different day. Bullskunk, that's been our games for the day.
Yes, sir, and it has been an absolute blast. Hope you had as much fun as we did, my friends at home. But we will see you next time. Keep an eye out for more Contenders action all week long. It will be the same time tomorrow and Friday as we conclude this week of Contenders. Until then, this has been Bullskunk and LaFawn. Y'all remember to look out for each other in-game and out, and we'll see you around.